Shane, is the fact that his brother Chris Ferragamo is a very successful high school coach back at Banning High School in Wilmington, California, part of Los Angeles, and he was worked very carefully with his brother, and I think we might see a different Vince Ferragamo in this game. He's had more experience than people give him credit for.
Yes, he definitely has. A lot of people would be happy if he did come in and prove to be successful today. And the thing is, I think a lot of people really forgot that he did step in for Pat Hayden last year. He threw 20 passes. He is familiar with Dallas's flex defense.
Jane, we have just received word on the schedule for next week. The AFC Championship game will be played first. That one will be in Pittsburgh. They will kick it off, Houston and Pittsburgh, at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Then the NFL Today goes on the air on CBS 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and our championship game will be in Tampa if Los Angeles beats Dallas, or it will be here in Dallas if the Cowboys beat the Rams. And of course, either way, those amazing Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in it. And the NFL Today continues on CBS in just a moment. You are looking live at the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, who are just minutes away from performing prior to the kickoff, the Cowboys and the Rams. And you know, if the road to the Super Bowl leads through Pittsburgh, then the road to the NFC Championship leads right here through Dallas. And they got at least one player who's unsung, a member of that offensive unit.
Well, you know, Brent, you hear a lot about turnovers being big in championship games, but you know you have to have somebody come up with the key plays. And the Dallas Cowboys have a backup running back here, Preston Pearson, who I consider Mr. Clutch.
Of all the gifted athletes Roger Staubach has at his disposal, none is more important to Dallas's offensive success than reserve running back Preston Pearson. In an age of situation substitution, Pearson is pro football's finest pinch hitter, the man who comes off the bench to turn crucial ball possession plays into first downs and sometimes into points.
I work awful hard at the role that they've given me, and the role that they've given me is to be a third down clutch pressure type receiver. I'm 34 years old, soon to be 35, and I don't feel that there are any 21, 22-year-olds can do anything better than I can do, and that includes running, blocking, catching, whatever there is in football.
For 4 years, Pearson has done all of these things, but on a star-studded team like the Cowboys, his contributions are often overlooked. This year, however, an unfortunate mishap caused people to take notice. In a Week 9 loss in Pittsburgh, Pearson was injured. And with their third down ace hobbled by injury, the Cowboys lost 3 of their next 4 games. Is that just a coincidence?
Who can say really what the ingredient is that you need, you know, at any particular moment? We missed him when he was out, mainly because he is so good in that area. But our team, of course, turned it around, and I think he helped it when he came back.
Pearson rejoined Tom Landry's bunch for Dallas's most crucial games of the season, starting with a Week 15 match in Philadelphia, a game the Cowboys had to win to have a shot at the divisional title.
Philadelphia game, again, was another pressure ball game. And over the years, I think in the pressure games, I've been at my best. My main objective with the role that they have given to me is to get first downs.
Pearson produced 3 first downs, 2 of which sustained Cowboy scoring drives. But Pearson saved his finest performance for Dallas's Week 16 showdown with the Redskins, a game that would decide the Eastern Division title.
In the Washington game, fortunately, they called my number, fortunately for me, because that gave me the opportunity to prove that I can play. And I believe that I played my best, perhaps above my head, in those pressure-type games.
Preston is particularly effective out of the shotgun. I still don't see why more coaches in the league don't go to it.
Well, I tell you, the one reason why they don't is because you have to have a center who can have a blind pass. The Cowboys did that very well with Fitzgerald.
Exactly. Well, Jack Whitaker is also with us today. He's standing by in the announce booth. Let's go to Jack now.
Thank you very much, Brent. You know, the last time we looked around, the Los Angeles Rams were foundering. They had dropped a game below 500, and they were reporting more casualties in the San Diego freeway on a busy weekend. So dismally were they playing that one tended to put them out of the picture in postseason playoffs, and to list them with the other disappointments of 1979, like the Los Angeles Dodgers, the NBA, and the Chrysler Motor Corporation. While all this was going on, the Dallas Cowboys were committing the unpardonable sin of losing football games on successive Sundays, and obituaries were being prepared to tell us of the approaching demise of America's team. Well, guess what? Here we all are together again at a playoff game between Los Angeles and the Dallas Cowboys. You see, yesterday was New Faces Day in the NFL playoff things. We had Tampa and Philadelphia and Houston and San Diego, teams who have merely been spectators at Super Bowl. Today belongs to the establishment, Pittsburgh and Miami, Dallas and Los Angeles, teams that have been in championship games, have been in and won Super Bowls. All that is, except the Los Angeles Rams. These playoffs and championship games have been mournful affairs for the Rams, seeming they wilt in face of a Minnesota or a Dallas. And it would seem that their task today is too big. And yet, strange things have happened this very weekend as Tampa upset Philadelphia and Houston, playing wounded, maimed, and amid alien corn, sent San Diego home early, thus prompting a new slogan for the league, that on any given Saturday, any team can beat any other team in the NFL playoffs. Coaches will tell you that a good defensive team wins playoff games, and the Rams certainly have a very good defensive team, while Dallas has put in one of their lesser defensive efforts on the year, finishing 8th overall in the league. Now, if you want to draw a conclusion from that statistic, go ahead. But I'd like to remind you of something Woody Allen said many years ago. "I may not be the world's greatest lover," said Woody, "but 8th place is not bad."
Thank you, Jack. And we're going to visit with the Greek Oracle as the NFL Today continues in just a moment. For the Los Angeles Rams, a whole season rides on one game. Their defensive unit being introduced here in Dallas. We are just minutes away from kickoff. Jimmy, what about the Cowboys? Are they as good as they were last year?
No.
Why?
They don't have Charlie Waters in defense anymore, and we said that weeks ago.
Well, Charlie is up here with us today.
They lost their coach on the field.
What about the defense, Charlie, having to replace you and Henderson out and Too Tall Jones?
Well, I think that's it, Brent. It's just not me. It's a combination of Jethro Pugh, too, in the middle of the line. Having to find somebody to take over the on-the-field adjustments gets to be a distraction for somebody that normally hadn't been taking the job. But they're in the groove now, and I think I like to disagree. I think we're in the groove, and I think we're going to win today.
Well, Jimmy, let's roll your board up and take a look at how you analyze this one.
I still disagree with him, because Hughes did a good job for him. There's no question about that. But Hughes was doing a good job on the special team. All right, we got to give it to the quarterback goes to Roger. He's the best, let's face it. I mean, he takes everybody where they're supposed to go.
Jack Youngblood will pressure him.
Well, there's no question about it, but the blitz will actually come against Ferragamo more than anything else. The running game, well...
You're downplaying Wendell Tyler. He's
no, I'm not going to Wendell. Wendell always finds a way to fumble when he's crossing the goal line. At least Dorsett fumbles on the 20.
You gave the Cowboys the home team edge? You should have given it to the Rams. There's no edge playing in the Coliseum. They got more friends on the road.
I'll tell you one thing. I don't know how White, Mr. Hill is going to try to take care of Mr. White. It's Dallas by a touchdown.
All right, from the Greek by a touchdown, and we'll be back with the NFL Today in just a moment. We are back live in Dallas. Jimmy the Greek says a touchdown. Irv Cross, what do you think about the Cowboys and the Rams?
I just think the Cowboys are going to win it. I think a young quarterback going against a veteran defense in a playoff game is too much to ask for.
Charlie?
I think basically the same thing, and I think the attack of wide open attack of Wendell Tyler will be gapped well by our flex defense. That's what it's designed for.
You don't think Tyler will be able to get outside at all?
I think the defense, our defensive team will be the difference, because we're not going to be able to come back against them because their defense is so strong. Our defense must control them.
You manhandled them early in the first game, though. In the second game, they get a little bit of an emotional edge.
Yeah, it's a lot different. That's the way it's been before in the past. They beat us in the regular season, then we smushed them in the playoffs, and hope that doesn't happen today.
Our best handicapper goes last. Jane, who do you like?
I don't know about best. I wouldn't dare go up against Jimmy, but I think I'll stick with my guns, my cowboy guns, that is, and go with Roger Staubach.
All right. I think I will pass today.
No.
Let him go. Forget it. Just stay where you are. No more.
That's all right. Jimmy and Irv and Jane and Charlie Waters, I'm Brent Musburger saying so long from Dallas. Sit back now and enjoy Vin Scully and George Allen, who are going to bring you play-by-play on the game that will decide who's going to play Tampa Bay for the NFC Championship.
Texas Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. CBS Sports presents the NFC playoff game. The Los Angeles Rams versus the Dallas Cowboys. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully along with George Allen. The Cowboys at home extremely tough and they're heavy favorites. A lot of familiar faces in this game, George, but a lot of pressure will be on Vince Ferragamo. If you were Tom Landry, what would you do to upset the young Ram quarterback?
Well, Vin, I'd try to take advantage of his inexperience. If he had the ball for 10 plays, he'd see 10 different coverages and 4 different fronts. When he came to the sidelines, he'd say, they're not doing what I expected.
And if you were Ray Malavasi, what would you do to shore up the confidence of the young quarterback?
I'd keep it very basic. Run, 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 and then pass. Pass on running downs.
And where would you run particularly?
I'd run to the Dallas's left side, over 58, Mike Hagman.
Do you think the Rams have a definite chance? They have been losers to Dallas so many times, it's almost ingrained.
I think anytime you have a great defense and have the talent the Rams have, you have a chance to win.
Well, we'll find out about the winner. The Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams from Irving, Texas. And for starters, the Dallas Cowboys won the toss. They've elected to receive. Frank Corral teeing it up on the Ram 35, and deep, Ron Springs, number 20. On his right is Wade Manning, number 22, and on his left is Steve Wilson, number 81. And so here we go in the playoff game to see who will battle Tampa Bay. And it's Steve Wilson at the 4, to the 15, 20, hit by Joe Dat, then Andrews and Doss, and down he goes. Let's take a look at the Dallas offense. Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, and Robert Newhouse in the backfield. Billy Joe Dupre along with the wide receivers Tony Hill and Drew Pearson. And up front, Pat Donovan, Herb Scott, John Fitzgerald, Tom Rafferty, and Rayfield Wright. So the Dallas Cowboys, very tough here at home. They're 4-1 at Texas Stadium in playoffs. The only game they lost was to the Rams. 1st and 10 from the 22. Dorsett all alone behind Staubach. And Roger looking left and throwing left, and it was intended for the right side to Doug Cosby, and Bob Brzezinski is there to break it up.
Bob Brzezinski made a nice play on that. They ended up with 2 tight ends. Brzezinski almost picked that off. Here it is. Cosby's running what we call a straight pattern. Brzezinski broke it up.
So it is 2nd and 10 for the Cowboys. Staubach 3-1 in playoffs and 6-3 in his battles against the Rams. Pitching to Dorsett, and with Donovan blocking ahead of him, Tony is across the 25 to the 27. Larry Brooks making the tackle. For the Rams up front, and of course the big story will be the defensive battle. Jack Youngblood, Mike Fanning, Larry Brooks, and Fred Dreyer. The linebackers, Jim Youngblood, Jack Reynolds, and Bob Brzezinski. At the corners, Dwayne Osteen is starting, although we expect to see Pat Thomas along with Rod Perry, Dave Elmendorf, and Nolan Cromwell. 3rd and 6 from the Cowboy 26, and Dupre is in a slot left inside Drew Pearson. Preston Pearson coming out of the backfield. Staubach hesitating and now throws on a bounce intended for Preston Pearson, and right there was Elmendorf and Osteen.
Well, the Rams did a good job of coverage. Roger had no place to throw, decided to run, then threw it into the ground. He did the smart thing.
So it'll be 4th and 6 on the Cowboy 26-yard line. Coming into punt now, Danny White, who has averaged a little more than 41 yards a punt. His longest of the year, 73 yards. Going deep for the Rams is Eddie Brown, standing on the Ram 35. Aaron Kyle is a wide man. Here comes the punt from Danny White, and he just did get it away over Nolan Cromwell. Cromwell actually got his fingertips on it, and it will roll inside the 35 and be down at the 32 by Wade Manning.
Another example where when you let the ball bounce, you lose 15 to 20 yards. The punt was almost blocked. Eddie Brown didn't have much of a chance to catch it.
And Nolan Cromwell had his fingertips on it. It was so ruled by the officials. And now let's see about Vince Ferragamo. The running backs, Wendell Tyler and Cullen Bryant. The men at the other end of the pass, Terry Nelson, Preston Denard, and Billy Waddy. And up front, Franz Hill, Saul, Hara, and Slater. 1st and 10 on the Ram 32. Slot right. Denard is inside Waddy. Wendell Tyler carrying, trying to get outside Larry Cole, but look what happens to him. Brunig and Dutton just bury him.
Well, here's the guy they got to stop. Wendell Tyler. Larry Cole made the play there. We kind of think that they're going to work on Mike Hagman, hook him with a tight end and let Wendell Tyler go wide. They ran to their right, to Dallas's left on the first play.
Well, they picked up 1 yard on the play. It's 2nd and 9 from the Ram 33. They send Waddy and Denard right. Ron Smith is wide left. On a draw to Cullen Bryant, hooked by Randy White, but he got by him out to the 43. Randy White trying to get him with his left arm, but he got by him. And very close, about less than a yard for a first down.
Well, it was a good 2nd down and long call, a draw play. Dallas was playing pass, and they had their linebacker way out in a walkaway position, so they were vulnerable to that draw.
Of course, it is very important for Ferragamo as Jack Youngblood takes a breather, for the Rams to keep the ball, and for Ferragamo to pick up something pretty hefty on 1st down. So now he has 3rd and less than a yard for a first down. And it'll be a rollout by Ferragamo, and low and away. Terry Nelson, the tight end, was the intended receiver. George, that was a shocking play.
Yeah, I thought sure they'd hammered in there. They had less than a yard to go for a first down. That's one thing you have to be careful of. Don't be too smart. Play good, sound, basic football.
So the first really important play of the day, a 3rd and 1 from the 42, and they try to pass to the tight end. And so now Ken Clark averaging 40 yards a punt. His longest is 60, and he's had 2 blocked this year. And he'll be punting to Steve Wilson, who's standing on the Dallas 18-yard line. Eddie Brown is back to pick up strays to block. And Clark arrows it to the right side, and a fair catch by Steve Wilson at the 21. Interesting, during the last few games, Wilson called 9 fair catches of the last 22 punts that he's handled.
He's done a good job for them. Watching him in the warm-up, he didn't drop 1 punt.
Well, we've gotten our feet wet. The Rams in Dallas, no score. Next Sunday, the NFC Championship game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, either against the Rams or Dallas. So the game will either be played here in Dallas or in Tampa. The NFL today at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and kickoff will be at 5 o'clock. So Dallas in its 2nd possession. They'll have it 1st and 10 on their own 22. They gained only 4 yards the first time they handled the ball. And we'll see now what Staubach and company does. Dallas 5-2 in playoffs at Texas Stadium. They are doubly tough here. Newhouse and Dorsett behind Staubach. Drew Pearson is wide right. Cosby a tight end on the left side, and they go that way with Dorsett. And Dorsett is out across the 25. So they went with the 2nd tight end, Doug Cosby.
Well, they're using 2 tight ends on 1st down. It's a good running formation. Nobody has been able to run effectively, consistently against that Ram defense.
So a pickup of 3. They move the ball to the 25. They had a punt from their own 26 the last time, so neither side has really had good field position. But the Rams did have that big 3rd and 1, and they let it get away. 2nd and 7 from the 25. Full house backfield now, and then Drew Pearson in motion. Dorsett again, trying to get wide, got by Brzezinski, and Elmendorf pushed him out of bounds. One thing we don't want to do is burden you with statistics today, but we should keep this in mind. Since he has been with Dallas, any game in which Tony Dorsett carries the ball a minimum of 20 times. You know what the Dallas record is? 15-1.
Well, that means they got that running game going. They don't have to worry about the pass. Dorsett made that gain with sheer speed. He was forced deep by Freddie Dreyer, and he outran the linebacker.
Well, it'll be 3rd and 2 from the 30, and Dorsett is carried 3 times. Jay Saldy is just outside Dupree in a double tight end over there. So they have 3 tight ends in the game, and Dorsett trying to cut back, and they stopped him at the line of scrimmage as he tried to come back, and they closed the hole nicely.
Well, they're working the right side of that Ram defense, but not too effectively.
What is there about the right side of the Ram defense?
Well, of course, Freddie Dryer's a little bit lighter. They may be trying to run there, and Brzezinski has less experience than Jack and Jim Youngblood.
All right, it is 4th and 2 from the 30-yard line. Eddie Brown goes back to the Ram 30. And again, Danny White is asked to punt, his 2nd of the day. So the Cowboys picked up 4 yards the first time they got the ball, and they have picked up 8 yards in the second sequence. Bob Brunick is deep man to pick up anybody who breaks through. Wade Manning is the hot man, the wide out down the left side. And Danny White kicking to Eddie Brown, and Brown taking it at the 26. Manning is down, and Brown is going to be out of bounds just about at the 35-yard line, and that's where the Rams will put it in play. A few heated words in the early going down on the field. So once Wade Manning, the wideout, was taken out, Brown at least was able to move with the ball, and the Rams will have it 1st and 10, just over their own 35-yard line. No score. From Texas Stadium in Irving, the Rams put it in play. 1st and 10 from their own 36. No score. 10.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Bryant and Tyler behind Ferragamo. Waddy is right, and Denard goes left. Cullen Bryant getting a somewhat of a block from Wendell Tyler on Randy Hughes, but he couldn't move the big man, Harvey Martin, and Mike Hegman up there to close it right about at the line of scrimmage.
Well, that Dallas defense, the flex defense, is designed to stop the run first. The Rams, to be effective today, have to run the ball consistently and throw next.
Well, it'll be 2nd and 10. The ball's still on the 36-yard line, and the Rams again sending Smith right and Denard left. Nelson, the tight end, is on the right side. A rush by D.D. Lewis. Ferragamo's pass, his receiver Denard goes down in a collision with Aaron Kyle. And we'll see with a flag at the Dallas 45-yard line. It appeared as if Kyle is going to be guilty of the infraction.
D.D. Lewis was right in there, and Ferragamo just put it up for grabs.
Pass interference, number 25, defense, 1st down.
Actually, Aaron Kyle had good position. He was supposed to be on the inside shoulder, and that's where he is. And the receiver ran into Aaron Kyle.
So it turns out to be a 20-yard pass penalty. And for Tom Landry talking to Roger Staubach, because Roger has been mired the first 2 times the Cowboys have had the ball. 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 44, and a first big break, a penalty against Dallas. Full house, and now Waddy comes out of there in motion, and they'll try Cullen Bryant. He cuts back, and he got across the 40. Harvey Martin tried to tackle him at the head, and Harvey went right over the top, and that meant an additional couple of yards for Cullen Bryant. Waiting to get his hands on the football, Robert Newhouse.
Cullen Bryant then is a cutback runner, and Bruni overran the play to some extent, and Cullen Bryant cut back. Now the Rams have had good field position both series.
Well, they come out 2nd and 6 on the Cowboy 40-yard line. Wendell Tyler got away from Brunig, but then ran into a team meeting across the 40-yard line. Brunig had him behind the line of scrimmage. I should mention this, too, as far as the Cowboy defense is concerned, to show you the pressure on Wendell Tyler. In 25 playoff games and 3 playoff bowls, the Dallas Cowboys have never allowed an opposing runner to rush for 100 yards.
That's a great record. Another thing, they've lost 36 years of experience not having guys like Charlie Waters and Pugh and Hollywood Henderson, all that gang.
Well, it's 3rd and 5 on the Cowboy 39. Denard is right. Waddy goes left. And now they go slot right. And it's Wendell Tyler buried by Harvey Martin. Doug France was thoroughly beaten, and Tyler was swallowed up by Harvey.
It looked like a broken play, almost fumbled. Here it is.
Doug France just couldn't hold him at all.
Yeah, it looked like it was designed to be a handoff, and Ferragamo ended up toss him the ball.
So 4th and 10 on the Cowboy 44, and it'll be the second punt for Ken Clark. And once again, Steve Wilson standing on the Cowboy 10-yard line. Cowboys can't get in as he angles it for the sidelines, and it will go into the end zone. Clark had kicked 17 out of 93 inside the 20, but not this time. A veteran who has to stand and wait. He certainly was through the wars for the Horns. Lawrence McCutcheon hoping that somehow or other he can get into this playoff game. No score, 7:37 in the first quarter. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the Dallas Cowboys and the National Football League is prohibited. 1st and 10 Cowboys on their own 20. Dorsett and Newhouse behind Staubach. Drew Pearson is wide right. End around Billy Joe Dupree, and he's out to the 25, to the 30, 35, 40, and Elmendorf pushes the tight end out of bounds at the 47-yard line of Dallas.
A good block, a crackback block on Rod Perry, number 45. He's down. Well executed play. Rod Perry's down. Looks like he hurt his knee. Dupree runs well with that ball.
Well, we were saying before the ball game how the Cowboys figure to come up with a gadget play, and right away it's the end around.
Every playoff game that I've seen Dallas, or we've defensed them, they'll come up with some sort of a gadget, and usually it's effective. It's been well thought out and has a purpose.
The concern of Ray Malavasi is evident. After all, he already has Pat Thomas shaken up, and he was out after the Dallas game in October. Thomas might come back in. Rod Perry was out. He has come back, but from the looks of things, Perry has hurt his left knee, and he could be out. Perry, of course, is coming off knee surgery.
You like that when you have good pursuit on the offside. Now, Freddie Dreyer has good speed and quickness. He's always hustling. Brzezinski likes to pursue. You run that type of a play against the grain.
And it was probably one of the things that Tom Landry was talking to Roger Staubach before when we had that shot on the sideline.
Now it looks like we'll have Pat Thomas in on the left corner, and Osteen will go over and play the right corner.
Pat Thomas, who tore a calf muscle against Dallas in October, will come in, and Rod Perry, from the looks of things, could very well be lost for the remainder of the day, which would be a shattering blow for the Ram defense. They figured that would be the only way, and you could see the pain on the face of Rod Perry, 26 years old, out of Colorado. There is his sub, Pat Thomas, who's an all-pro, but he's been out. Torn calf muscle. He had an ulcer, which I guess is part of the job when you're a cornerback in the NFL. So thanks to the end around of Dupree, they bring the ball out to the Cowboy 47-yard line. 1st and 10.
You know, the Cowboys were the first team to use multiple sets and shift and give you 2 or 3 looks on defense. In every game we've done, there's been an illegal motion penalty that's resulted in a big play being called back.
Well, we'll see how it pops up today. 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 47, and they go slot left. Tony Hill is inside Drew Pearson over there, and now Pearson in motion. Staubach faking to the right and then going deep for Tony Hill, and it's off his fingertip, and it was Pat Thomas who was right there with him. And the matchup there, Pat Thomas is only 5'9", and Tony Hill is 6'2", so it was evident they were going to put the big against the little right away.
Watch Youngblood rushing against Rayfield Wright. He took an inside. Staubach had the time to throw. Pat Thomas had good inside position. That's why the ball was not completed. See, Pat Thomas, he had him covered, and Pat can jump even though he's short. He's got good leg spring.
2nd and 10 on the Cowboy 47. Pearson is left, Hill is right, and a quick hit by Dorsett, fighting his way out of Mike Fanning's grasp, and he got across midfield down to the Ram 47. He really did that by himself. Tony Dorsett.
This is what we call a fast trap, quick hitting play, which is effective with a guy like Dorsett. They didn't shift on that particular set. Try to catch the Rams off balance.
So it'll be 3rd and 4.
The Rams are coming in with 6 defensive backs now.
So 3rd and 4 on the Ram 47. Saldi is in there now on a wing. Preston Pearson is the deep man behind Staubach's shotgun formation. Osteen on a blitz, couldn't get him, and the pass is bobbled and he can't hold it. Butch Johnson with Nolan Cromwell all over him.
The Rams had 7 defensive backs. 7 defensive backs, and they dogged off of that. Now, I'm sure that Roger and the Dallas offense did not expect this. It's been effective to date. Now, it's weak against the run. When we use that against Dallas, Vin, a couple of times we got away with it. Then they ran against it, and we had to get out of it.
Well, at that time, it was Dwayne Osteen coming on the dog. And now, for the 3rd time today, Danny White will have to punt. Eddie Brown is standing inside the Ram 15. Ivory Sully and Jackie Wallace are the wideouts for the Rams. We'll see if either man can get in. Remember, the last punt was almost blocked, but the Rams are not coming. And White angling for the side, and Eddie Brown a fair catch, and he'll make the reception at the Ram 13. So the Rams are bottled up. They had started possession on their own 32, on their own 36, and now they start on their own 12-yard line is where they spotted. So we have 6 minutes and 27 seconds left in the first quarter. The Rams and the Cowboys, no score.
We'd like to get it.
Next Saturday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Boy, that's going to be something. The attempt to break the sound barrier right here on the CBS Sports Spectacular. 1st and 10 for the Rams on their own 12-yard line. The Rams had a 3rd and 1 on their 42 and couldn't make it. They had a pass interference penalty to give them a 1st down on a Cowboy 45, and they were stymied. And this is the 3rd time they've had the ball. Ferragamo to Tyler. He got by Dutton. And he's out close to the 20-yard line, just about at the 20 when he goes out, pursued by Benny Barnes. In watching Benny Barnes, number 31, and there's a flag on the play, he is coming off foot surgery 2 years ago, but the foot is bothering him, and he's taking electrical stimulus of the nerves, and yet he's out there and showed good speed. The penalty is against the Rams.
Well, they ran that left side of the Cowboys defense like we talked about at the top of the show, and they had a play going there pretty good. And there's that penalty we talked about with the multiple shifting and motion. In every game, there's been a big play. The Bears.
Illegal motion, number 78, offense, 1st down.
Well, Jackie Slater is guilty of the illegal motion. It is 1st and 15. The ball just about on the 7-yard line. And so Ferragamo deep in his own territory now, no score. And he has Ron Smith wide right. Preston Denard goes left. Cullen Bryant dragged down on a great play by Randy White. White, number 54, had him at the ankles before he could get to the line of scrimmage.
Well, Randy White, 54, is going against 72. He took an inside charge and beat him.
Cantahill, number 72, is the only rookie starter on either team as we look at Tom Landy winding up his 20th year as head coach of the Cowboys, the 4th winningest coach in NFL history. Ferragamo gonna run away from Randy White and falls down in the end zone. So the safety will go for Dallas, and they lead 2-0.
Well, Ferragamo didn't have anyone to throw to when he started to run.
And Randy White is again beating Cantahill.
Right in there, and he slipped and fell. If he doesn't slip and fall, he doesn't get the safety.
So Randy White is really pressuring the rookie up front, Cantahill, and Dallas has 2 points, and now, of course, the free kick.
In that area of the field, then what you do is you don't run around too much. You step up because that's what you don't want to happen. You can't take a loss down in there.
So on the punt by Ken Clark, going deep again will be Ron Springs. He'll be flanked by Wade Manning. Steve Wilson will be standing up on the 31-yard line. And it is 2-0 Dallas. There is Ron Spring.
What a job he's done this year. He's really come through for them, especially when Dorsett was injured.
And we figure to see a lot of him today before this afternoon is through. The punt by Ken Clark is wobbly, and it's grabbed by Springs at the 38. He is hit at the 45, and down he goes. And the first man down there to hit him was George Andrews. But he got it back across the 40, and once again, the Cowboys are in excellent field position. You'll be in excellent position if you're right in front of your TV set on CBS tonight. 60 Minutes, Archie Bunker's Place, One Day at a Time, Alice, the Jeffersons, and Trapper John M.D. right here on CBS.
This is the first time today that the Cowboys offense has had good field position. Let's see what they do with it.
So on the Cowboy 46, with the Horns leading 2-0. Dorsett and Newhouse behind Staubach. Tony Hill is right. Drew Hill goes left, and Newhouse slants across the left side, across midfield, and into Ram territory. Larry Cole is tying a record. This is in his 23rd playoff game, tying Jethro Pugh for the NFL record, and he was also voted the #1 defensive lineman by his teammates. So it's been a big year for Larry Cole.
And the play Larry Cole made against the Redskins on 3rd and 2, dropping John Riggins for a 2-yard loss, allowed the Cowboys to come back.
2nd and 4 on the Ram 48, and they load up now with Staubach with Dorsett, the sole running back. Jay Saldy is wide left. And here comes Dorsett, and he is pulled down immediately by Bob Brzezinski. So the linebacker came up to hit him behind the line of scrimmage.
Brzezinski played that perfectly. As the tackle pulled, he came across. He didn't come across too wide. Here it is. Brzezinski, in his first year as a starting linebacker, has really come through for the Rams.
By the way, a report on Rod Perry. He suffered a strained knee, will probably be back.
7 defensive backs again.
And on a 3rd and 7, Preston Pearson now in the ball game, and Staubach in a shotgun has Butch Johnson alongside of him. And Staubach has the ball slip out of his hands, and it's intercepted by Eddie Brown, and Brown takes it down to the 31-yard line on a wobbly pass.
Well, he was hit. They dogged from the 7 defensive back alignment. Now the Cowboys, watch the dogging man come in, made him throw in a hurry.
If you look again, I don't think anybody hit him.
But it didn't. But he felt the pressure. They haven't adjusted to this 7 defensive back setup yet.
So it is 1st and 10 for the Rams on the Cowboy 32. That was a 21-yard return by Eddie Brown. And the Rams, for the second time, get a big break. Slot left with Waddy inside Denard. Here comes Wendell Tyler, and he ran into Hegman, and Mike Hegman drops him. But let's go back to that poor Staubach pass and see why he threw it badly.
Here it is.
It didn't appear as if anybody hit him, but let's take a close look now. There goes Ivory Sully, but they pick him up. It just slipped out of his hands.
Bad throw.
It happens to the best of them.
And he felt the pressure. I think you're going to see them run against that defense. They're not going to keep throwing against 7 defensive backs.
So it is 2nd and 11 on the Cowboy 33. Denard is left. Waddy goes right. Both backs release. Ferragamo to Tyler. He gets away from Brunig. He's inside the 20, and there's a flag on the play.
Yeah.
We might have an illegal procedure penalty against the Rams. That appeared to be the preliminary signal.
There's Ferragamo setting up. Tyler on a shoot pattern. He's great one-on-one. The penalties against the Rams.
Remember, it was 2nd and 11, and they would have picked up the first down, so that penalty really hurts. Moves him back to the 38-yard line of the Cowboys.
Motion, number 88, offense, 2nd down.
That was a wide receiver, Preston Denard, who was illegally in motion. And of course, George, you just said that a few moments ago. A big play was going to be called back, and there it was.
And here's the Dallas nickel personnel and their pass rushing personnel in.
2nd and 16 on the Cowboy 38. Denard left and Waddy right. It's still Bryant and Tyler. Both backs release again. Ferragamo throwing to Bryant, and what a lick by Benny Barnes, dropping him at the 35-yard line, and they still have about 3 yards to go for a first down.
Well, Benny Barnes had the front zone on this. Dallas is rushing with 4 and covering with 7. Watch Barnes put the wood to him. It's a wonder he hung on to the football.
Well, they still have, because of the penalty, another 13 yards on a 3rd and 13 with 2 minutes and 38 seconds left in the first quarter. No score.
Harvey Martin's usually at his best in this situation.
Waddy appears slightly confused, now goes to the right, and because of the confusion, they waste an all-important timeout.
That's one thing that we've seen this year. You want your timeouts for that 2-minute drill. It could mean the ball game for you. You hate to waste a timeout in the first quarter.
And evidence of the confusion was Billy Waddy starting to go left, suddenly going right. The 30-second clock was winding down. And, of course, you get 3 timeouts, but it's heartbreaking for a club to burn one up at this stage of the game.
How many games have we seen go down to the wire? If they had one more timeout, they could have won the ball game.
As you look at Vince Ferragamo talking to the battery of brains, there you see Preston Pearson on the sidelines. And, of course, for Preston, quite a veteran. If he catches 2 passes today, he'll move past Cliff Branch into 4th place in NFL postseason play. He's had such a career.
We've always had a lot of success with the nickel against Dallas. In fact, Dallas put the nickel in after we used it. The other thing that's bothering Vince Ferragamo is that Dallas is in their nickel. They're moving their personnel around, and you see it on the screen. You expect 31 to be here. You expect 42 to be there. And if they move that personnel around, it'll confuse a young quarterback.
It's what you said at the outset of the game. If you were coaching against Ferragamo, you would give him a different defense, 8 consecutive plays to really scramble his thinking.
We'd try to put him on defense.
Of course, in that instance, it didn't seem like it was Ferragamo who was confused. It was Billy Waddy who was running.
Waddy lined up on the wrong side.
So it is 3rd and 13. The ball is on the Cowboy 35, and the Cowboys lead 2-0. Drew Hill is wide left. Waddy is inside Smith in a slot right. Preston Denard coming out of the backfield with Wendell Tyler, and it's Tyler at the 30 and goes down at the 27, so he's not close to a first down. Meanwhile, Bob Lee standing on the sidelines, and of course we might have a big decision later in the game as to whether Lee will take over for Ferragamo. But there's no decision here. We know Frank Corral is going to come in and try and put a baseball score up. It is 2-0 Dallas, and the Rams trying to make it 3-2 Los Angeles.
You know, in that last play, Randy Hughes fell down, and that's why the receiver was open.
For Frank Corral, he kicked 13 out of 25 during the regular season. His longest was 49. The hold will be on the 34 by Nolan Cromwell. So it's a 44-yard field goal attempt. High snap, the spot, and the kick. And it is no good. So Frank Corral misses from the 42, shakes his head in bewilderment. The snap was slightly high. It certainly was not offline.
It was long enough.
And he just hooked it away.
Went to the left, hooked it. You know, Frank had a great year last year. He's been in a slump this year.
Talking about Corral, 500%. His average field goal was 32 yards, so 44 was straining it a little. The line of scrimmage was the 27, so that's where the Cowboys put it in play. Newhouse and Dorsett behind Staubach, and Saldi is in motion. Tony Dorsett, and the Rams really bury him head on.
Well, neither team has moved the ball on the ground. They're making adjustments on defense for that last play where the Rams sent motion and changed the strength. Both sides are having a little trouble attacking the nickel and the 7-back defense.
2nd and 10 on the Cowboy 27. Hill and Pearson on the left, but Pearson in motion, and they pitch out to Tony Hill, and he dropped it. He took his eye off the ball.
Yeah.
He wanted to see where Dwayne Osteen,
right.
number 33, was, and in looking at 33, he just dropped the ball.
Good call here. What? This. Watch his head. See, he's looking downfield, as Vince said before he had the ball. You got to look that ball. Your head should pop right down on the ball.
This might come as a little bit of a surprise. After all, Roger Staubach, the highest-rated passer in the NFL this year, he is 0 for 6 with an interception so far. We have 47 seconds left in the first quarter. So it is 3rd and 10 for Roger on the Cowboy 27.
7 defensive backs.
And again, he'll go to the shotgun and look down the barrel and try to pick somebody off. And Roger is going to be caught from behind and grabbed by Freddie Dreyer, who came outside, then made a U-turn and came back to get him.
That has him confused. We've said that before.
George, let me ask you, what do you do when you're looking at 7 defensive backs?
You run the ball. You line up in a normal formation and run that ball, give it to Tony Dorsett, and you'll make big yardage.
How new is a 7 defensive back setup to you?
We've used it in the past, but you can't make a living on it. It's just something that you can use for a few plays. Now, if it's effective, you'll stay with it. If they keep trying to throw the ball, the Rams will use it the entire ball game.
It's 4th and 7 on the Cowboy 30. It is 2-0 in favor of Dallas. That's Wade Manning in motion one way and then the other. He's the wideout. And Danny White gets the punt away. Eddie Brown on his own 30, and Manning has it. So Wade Manning, the wideout, he's a terrier, and he got down to get him.
I tell you what they're doing that's real effective. They're sending Wade Manning, number 22, in motion. The Rams can't jam him. They can't hold him up, and he's down there waiting for the football.
The 2 first downs, one was an interference penalty on a pass play for the Rams, and the other the end around by Billy Joe Dupree. That's all. Those are the first down. 1st and 10 now on the Ram 28 at the start of the second quarter. Tyler is the deep man. Play action fake by Ferragamo, and he goes down the left side, no good. Almost picked off by Aaron Kyle. He made a nose dive and just came up short.
Aaron played that perfectly. He covered his man, and he got the jump on the ball. Here's a play action pass from the eye, faking to Wendell Tyler, looking at his receiver all the way. Now watch Aaron come in. The ball was a little bit low to intercept, low and outside.
The toughest team to pass against in the NFL this past year, the Dallas Cowboys. They also allowed the 3rd fewest passing yards per game, and Aaron Kyle is one of the reasons. So it is 2nd and 10 on the Ram 28. Wendell Tyler, Bryant blocking on Randy Hughes, and Hughes fought off Bryant's block, and with a bad shoulder still made the tackle. Now that's some player.
He had a good block on Hagman. Real good block there.
Randy Hughes, number 42, dislocated his shoulder. He's a man you might remember, and his interception led to a big touchdown in the Super Bowl against Denver.
And he's playing with a harness on. He can't get his arm up, but he still can't hurt himself because the socket can't come out. There's a chain on there and a harness.
Close up of Billy Joe Dupree, who made that end around first down for the Cowboys. 3rd and 5 on the 33 of Los Angeles. Wendell Tyler on a draw, and he got away from Randy White, but he runs into Hegman. So even though White beat Tannehill, Bryant was unable to block, and the play was busted.
Well, that's the guy they have to stop. Wendell Tyler's the home run hitter, the big play guy. They got to defense him every down.
So it'll be 4th and 4, and Ken Clark will be punting again. Deep for the Cowboys, as usual, is Steve Wilson. Up in front of him is Wade Manning. Dennis Thurman is a wide man on the left side. He's going to try and get in, but they keep him wide. Steve Wilson from his 22 got away from Ivory Sully, grabbed by Joe Harris, and down he goes at the 30. Ivory Sully went flying by, almost had him.
Well, even though he missed the tackle, he still did his job. He was down there, forced the return man to commit himself.
So we have 13 minutes and 21 seconds to half, 2-0 Cowboys. Tomorrow, Clemson, one of the top defensive college football teams in the nation, taking on Baylor in the 12th annual Peach Bowl, live from Atlanta, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The Cowboys have it 1st and 10 on their own 30-yard line. Dorsett and Newhouse behind Staubach. Staubach trying for his first completion of the day to Billy Joe Dupree, and he gets away from Elmendorf and gets to the 40-yard line and maybe a first down. Dave Elmendorf usually makes a better tackle than that, and there's a Ram hurt. The Ram is Jack Youngblood, and Youngblood has done something to his left ankle. So they've lost Rod Perry at least for the half, and now Jack Youngblood hurt on the play.
Play action. He wants to go strong, and he comes back. Dupree slow blocks. Again, runs well after the catch.
Elmendorf slid away from him, and Jim Youngblood brought him down. But the big concern for Los Angeles right now is Jack Youngblood. We have 13 minutes and 7 seconds to go to the half. The Cowboys leading on a safety 2-0 in what has turned out to be quite a hard-nosed defensive battle.
Just what I was going to say, Ben, this is a defensive game today. Both teams are feeling each other out. Neither team has been able to run or pass.
Well, Youngblood very gingerly being assisted off the field. The backup man, Reggie Doss, number 71. And Doss will have to take over, so we'll see now if the Cowboys will attack that side of the Ram line on a 2nd and 1. And Youngblood limping noticeably. There's Reggie Doss, only 2 years out of Hampton Institute. He's 6'4", 267.
He's a good athlete, and he can rush the passer.
2nd and 1 on the 39 for the Cowboys. Saldi is wide right. Drew Pearson is wide left. They go to Dorsett, and he is spun across and picked up the first down. Yeah. Reggie Doss almost took the ball away from him.
He was going for the ball, number 71. Let's see if we can see that. Here he is, 71, Reggie Doss, takes the blocker on, gets rid of him, and tries to hook the elbow. Dorsett spins around, hung onto the football.
Of course, for both Tony Dorsett and Wendell Tyler, they each have fumbled 9 times this year. But remember, Dorsett is playing with a bad shoulder. 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 42. And busting heads is Dorsett. He hit Jack Reynolds head on and maybe gained a yard. On the Rams sideline, they're working on that left ankle of Jack Youngblood. An awful lot of tape trying to put him back together again.
Well, Jack Youngblood's a great all-pro, and they certainly missed him if he can't get back in there. Again, I'll say you aren't going to make many yards running against this Ram defense. You have to run just enough to keep them honest.
They started on their own 29. They've moved it where it is 2nd and 8 on the Cowboy 44. Ron Springs is coming in now to give Tony Dorsett a breather. And they're going to get Ron Springs' feet wet right away, too, for the first down. And he's finally dragged down by Brzezinski inside the 40. What a substitute.
We talked about him. I like him. Watch the balance and the footwork he has. From the I formation, the quick toss. Watch him use his blockers. Now he accelerates, protects the ball with 2 hands, and then going forward.
And, of course, what everyone has to keep in mind, particularly if he's running left, is that Ron Springs is left-handed, and he has already passed out of that run to the left to beat St. Louis earlier to Tony Hill. 1st and 10 on the Ram 41. Drew Pearson is left. Tony Hill is right. Staubach setting up a little lob to Springs, but Reynolds was right there to grab him. So Jack Reynolds stayed right there. He didn't commit himself, and he grabbed Springs easily.
Well, what you want to use that check down when linebackers are getting depth and pulling out of there. Jack stayed at home. That was his key, and made the play.
So it is 2nd and 8. The ball on the Ram 39-yard line. Tony Dorsett comes back in. Robert Newhouse and Springs go out, and Dorsett and Preston Pearson And Preston Pearson out on a wing.
They're in a nickel with 2nd and 8.
In motion is Drew Pearson. And here goes Preston Pearson, knocked off his feet by Jim Youngblood. Jim Youngblood, number 53, just belted him.
Well, he's a hitter. He's tough. They're running a reverse, what we call a crisscross play. Youngblood was dogging coming down to the inside. It was a perfect call to break up that play.
From 2nd and 8, they go 3rd and 10 to the Cowboys on the Ram 41.
Now here's the 7 defensive backs, man. The last time they had 5 defensive backs.
Staubach so far having some difficulty. He is 2 for 8 against that 7 defensive back alignment. And once again, as you see all those backs, that's what Staubach is up against right now. And he's going to run, but finally throwing on the run, no good.
You see, with the Rams pass rush, with those 4 guys rushing, they get plenty of pressure. They don't have to dog from that.
You know who was applying the pressure? Jack Youngblood, tape on the left ankle and all. So he's well enough, although he's limping, there he is. But he was the one who forced Staubach to throw it away.
Well, he's tough. He plays with bumps and bruises, and that's what you have to do.
So on a 4th and 10 on the Ram 41, the Cowboys will have to punt. Danny White standing on the Cowboy 45. Eddie Brown is standing inside the Ram 10. 2-0 in favor of Dallas on a safety when Vince Ferragamo slipped and went down, and the Cowboys were all over him in the end zone. Wade Manning in motion. He's the guy to get down under the punt. And White angling for the sideline with Manning down there to watch it go out of bounds.
Nice kick.
At the 8-yard line. And the Rams are arguing, and they're going to lose the argument. Westbrooks, Eddie Hill, and Drew Hill are all arguing, but it's going to be about on the 8 with 8 minutes and 56 seconds to half. Dallas 2, Los Angeles nothing. The only scoring came with 5:40 left in the first quarter. Vince Ferragamo trying to elude Randy White, slipped and went down in the end zone with White on top of him to give Dallas the safety 2-0. That was also the last time the Rams had the ball on their own 8-yard line. With 8:56 of the half, the Rams have it on their own 8 again. 1st and 10. Tyler is the deep man behind Bryant. Tyler following Bryant's block on Randy Hughes, and he's to the 15, to the 20, 25, 30, grabbed by Brunig and knocked out by Aaron Mitchell. Big block and a key block on Randy Hughes.
Right, and they did just what we talked about at the top of the show. They're running to the left side. It's a toss to Wendell. They got the linebacker hooked. They blocked Randy Hughes. And then Tyler just used his speed. He almost went all the way.
So Cullen Bryant made a clean block of Randy Hughes to make the play go. Tyler goes to the Ram 43. They pick up 35 yards on the carry, and it is 1st and 10 Rams. They go slot left with Smith inside Denard. So Bryant on a block, and he can move across midfield. Wow. And that time Wendell Tyler blocked John Dutton in the backfield to save the play.
And I'll tell you what they're doing. I don't know whether we can see that again. They're tying up Hagman, number 58. He's trading 1 for 1. See that? Trading 1 for 1. There's 58 right there. He's making a blocker out of the tight end.
2nd and 1 on the Cowboy 48-yard line. 2-0 Dallas. Cullen Bryant scrambling for the first down. And Cullen, who doesn't fumble.
Well, he had 2 hands on the ball. That's one of the reasons, man. He protects that football.
He finished the year with a streak of 110 consecutive carries without a fumble. He fumbled only twice this year. Only 2 regular running backs in the NFC had fewer. Bubba Bean had none, and Benny Malone had 1. So Bryant is right up there as far as holding on to that football. 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 46. Pitch to Tyler. To come back the other way, but the Cowboys wouldn't go for it. And Randy White, as usual, you know, he's playing on 2 bad feet.
Yes, he is.
White.
Well, he gives you that 110%. Here's, looks like John Dutton down, 78. There's an example, that last play of Wendell leaving his blocking and trying to cut back against the grain.
And I think maybe Dutton was caught in that jam as they tried to correct and come back. So John Dutton is down, 7:21 to the half. Dallas 2, Los Angeles nothing. At a halftime, there'll be a CBS News special report with the latest news from Iran and exclusive pictures from Afghanistan. John Dutton slowly coming off, and Bruce Thornton, the rookie out of Illinois, number 77, will have to take his place. There's Bruce.
An 8th round pick.
So it is 2nd and 10 on the Cowboy 46. Remember, the Rams started on their own 8-yard line. Denard is inside Waddy in a slot right. Bryant, and the big guy is to the 40-yard line.
Well, you know,
Bryant.
You know, Ben, this Dallas defense is not what it used to be. We know that they've been allowing 4.2 per rush. The Rams can run the football, and they're showing it, and that's their best chance to get back in this ball game and to win this ball game.
As far as grading the Cowboy defense this year, it would be the poorest Cowboy defense since 1963, because it doesn't mean anything in a playoff game. 3rd and 4. The ball is on the Cowboy 40. Denard left, Smith right, and McCutcheon is in there with Tyler, and it is Tyler. And I believe he got the first down, although he was really drilled.
Yeah.
Randy Hughes, I don't know how a man can have a sore shoulder and hit you that hard.
Well, the Cowboys were in a nickel defense, and the Rams did a smart thing running 3rd and 4.
And hold everything. There are a couple of men slowly getting up. Mike Hegman is slow in getting to his feet.
Watch
and
that.
Wendell Tyler, after that hit, is
by
shaken
Randy
up.
Hughes.
So they will measure for the first down. It would appear as if they made it from our angle. Yeah, once they get the chain strengthened out, they don't make it. So with inches, Gordon Gravel and Charlie Young are coming in. Oh, the Rams will go for it. Danny White hoping to punt.
Well, they're going for it.
So 4th and inches. The ball is on the Cowboy 37. Gravel and Young. And you have Nelson and Young, the 2 tight ends, are on the right side in a wing formation. Bryant and Tyler, and it is Bryant for the first down. So the big back goes bulling through.
That's the guy to give it to him. 2 hands on the ball, straight ahead. Good sound play and blocking, man for man blocking. Don't be too fancy. 4th and inches. Sound basic football.
Picking up that first down for the Rams. Remember earlier, the only first down they had was on a pass interference play. Then there was a big run by Wendell Tyler, and now they have it 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 32. Slot right for the Rams. Play action fake to Bryant, and Ferragamo to Tyler to the 5. Touchdown, Los Angeles.
They put Tyler on the linebacker.
Wendell Tyler was all alone. He had scored 1 touchdown on a pass this year and 9 rushing.
No linebacker's going to cover Wendell Tyler. There's D.D. Lewis, 50, trying to cover him. Easy touchdown.
And yet, as we mentioned earlier, the toughest team in the NFL to pass against, the Dallas Cowboys, and it's young Vince Ferragamo who stings him with 5 minutes and 5 seconds left to the half.
Good
it is
play.
Now 6-2 Los Angeles.
Good execution, good call at that time.
Well, now we'll see about the point. Corral kicked 36 out of 39, but he has been bothered by a hamstring pull. He kicks, and it's good. Let's take another look at Wendell Tyler, one-on-one with D.D. Lewis.
Right, here it is. Play action, pretty good fake. All he has to do is outrun D.D. Lewis. Good throw, it made him stretch for it.
32 32 yards for the touchdown. Frank Corral kicking off, and it's Ron Springs from the 5 to the 20 to the 25, and goes out of bounds after crossing the 30-yard line, out at the 33. Wendell Tyler, who just scored the touchdown, a 32-yard pass play from Vince Ferragamo, also had the longest run from scrimmage today, 35 yards. An injury report on John Dutton. He suffered a twisted right knee. He will not be back for the remainder of this first half. That's about the same story on Rod Perry. So 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 34. Staubach to Newhouse, who stumbled and still moved it out across the 35. But his getaway, he was having trouble getting out of the blocks.
Speaking of fumbles, Robert Newhouse seldom fumbles. He fumbled just once in his last 93 carries.
And only 5 times in the last 3 years. We have 4 minutes and 36 seconds to the half. The Rams are leading the Cowboys 7-2. So 2nd and 7 on the 37 for Roger Staubach. Tony Hill is wide right. Drew Hill goes left. And Newhouse goes over the left side across the 40. He has to get to just almost to the 44.
Well, Dallas really hasn't done a thing to date in this ball game, and they look just a little bit sluggish to me, Ben.
The story, as you pointed out, that Rams 7 defensive backs, because Staubach is only 2 for 9 for 11 yards and 1 interception. And of course, when Roger is sputtering, Dallas doesn't figure to make too much noise. 3rd and 1 on the Cowboy 43. Salty is on a wing right, and Springs is in there back of Newhouse. Salty in motion. And it's Springs, and he is hit head-on by Jack Reynolds, but it would appear as if he legged it for the first down. Reynolds tried to stop him. It would appear as if Springs won the battle. So Ron Springs goes head-to-head with Jack Reynolds and manages to get the first down. The ball just shy of the Cowboy 45. On the Dallas bench, Mike Hegman, and of course he's very busy on the left side, visiting with Randy Hughes. They figure to be busy all day. The Rams have been attacking that area. 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 45. In motion is Newhouse. Staubach with time, and he has his man Pearson all alone, and Drew Pearson makes the reception inside the Ram 40-yard line.
Well, to beat the Rams defense, you have to throw. I know I'm repeating myself. You're not going to make a living running against this Ram defense. You have to throw to beat it. When they've lost to teams that could throw the football.
So they move the ball to the Ram 38-yard line. Remember, this drive started on the Cowboy 34, and with 2 minutes and 15 seconds and the clock running down, it's 1st and 10. Drew Pearson wide right. Dorsett is the deep man. And they'll try Tony again as he cuts back into a gang at the 35. Picked up about 3. And we have come to the 2-minute warning. At halftime, a reminder again, there'll be a CBS News special report. The latest news from Iran and exclusive pictures from Afghanistan. With 2 minutes to go to the half, the Rams, a decided underdog, leading the Cowboys 7-2 and doing it basically defensively.
This is a big 2 minutes for this Dallas offense. They haven't done anything. They're the favorite. They're playing at home, and they're behind.
2nd and 7 on the Ram 35. Drew Pearson was right, and we'll see Staubach is going the left side to Billy Joe Dupree, dragged down by Elmendorf inside the 20-yard line. First down for the Cowboys on their first extensive drive of the day.
Well, this last series, Rodgers throwing on first down, play action, it's been very successful. That's one of Dallas's favorite passes, sending Drew Pree across the field. Big target. He lays it out in front of him. Cowboys have 3 timeouts left.
1st and 10. The ball is just across the Ram 19-yard line, and Staubach on a drive now with Tony Hill left, Drew Pearson right, Dorsett and Newhouse behind him. Roger time, and he goes in the end zone and overthrows Tony Hill. Dwayne Osteen right there with him, and Roger was going to make sure there'd be no interception.
Well, the reason he overthrew him is Jack Reynolds was right in his face. The Rams dogged right up the gut. The Cowboys couldn't pick it up. They had a 5-man pattern, and Roger did the smart thing. He threw it away.
You know, we mentioned earlier that the Cowboys were the toughest team to pass against. Number 2 would be the Rams. The Rams this year had 25 interceptions.
Now the Rams just sent in Eddie Brown, so they have 5 defensive backs, 2 linebackers, and 4 rushmen.
It is 2nd and 10. The ball almost on the Ram 18. We have 1 minute and 9 seconds to the half. Drew Pearson goes left, Hill right. And Staubach with Saldi, a tight end, going deep. And he's throwing in the end zone to Saldi, and it's broken up by Jim Youngblood. So Saldi, who was on a wing, was picked up by Jim Youngblood one-on-one.
Yeah, and Youngblood had his back turned. Looked like the ball hits him. Let's see. Yeah, hit him in the head. He was beaten, but Roger again was rushed. Roger hasn't had the time he'd like to have to throw that football. Now here comes the 7 defensive backs.
One of the reasons the Rams have been so difficult against the pass, they have 52 sacks, second to New England's 57. So they're giving Staubach all the heat he can take. Preston Pearson is behind Roger. And Staubach unloading to Butch Johnson, and he beat Elmendorf, but Cromwell slings him out of bounds. So Butch Johnson is able to take it away from the strong safety Elmendorf, and then Cromwell came over to bail him out.
And the Cowboys kept an extra blocker in here. Give him time to throw. Butch Johnson did a good thing getting out of bounds, stopping the clock.
So it is 4th and 7. The ball on the Ram 15-yard line. We have 55 seconds. And in a 7-2 game, the Cowboys are going to try to make it 7-5. Danny White will be the holder at the 23-yard line. So Raphael Septien will have a 33-yard field goal. He was 19 out of 29 during the regular season. Twice he kicked one from 51. The spot by Danny White, and the kick, it's good. So in a rather odd score with 52 seconds left to the half, the Rams 7 and the Cowboys 5. 8-0, and they lost in October 30-6. But Landry said when you study those games, one game it was no score at halftime, and another game it was a 17-point third quarter. So they're really a lot more even than you might indicate at first glance.
And anytime you have a defense like the Rams and their personnel, it doesn't matter where you're playing or what the odds are. You can win.
Eddie Hill is deep for the Rams. He'll be flanked by Jim Jodat on his right and Eddie Brown on his left. And Septien kicking off 7-5, and he kicks a knuckleball down the left side, and Eddie Brown just lets it go out of bounds. Well, so of course they'll back off and kick from the 30.
Now that's something that you really don't want, because with 52 seconds, the Rams still have time. Now he's got to kick off from the 30. They get a good return. They got field position right away. They have 2 timeouts left, the Rams. What he's trying to do is kick a squib kick so they can't set up a return, but he got it out of bounds.
Some of the men up front for the Rams, you have Reggie Doss, Dan Rysick, and Gordon Gravel. They are the 3 middle linemen, besides a trio that we have just given you. The deep man of Hill flanked by Jodat and Brown. And it would look now as if one of the 3 big men might wind up getting his hands on the ball. Doss is standing on the Ram 35 along with Gordon Gravel, and Rysick is standing on the Ram 30. So we'll see if Septien tries to hit another knuckleball from the 30-yard line. We have 52 seconds to the half. The Rams 7 and the Cowboys 5. 2 men have been injured. John Dutton for the Cowboys, Rod Perry for the Rams. Neither man was expected back for the first half. Both men are tentatively figured upon for the second half.
It's not working.
Westbrook came over and asked about the clock. Greg Westbrook asked, and we heard someone on the sideline say it is not working. So we're not sure now about the 52 seconds. So the officials explaining to Greg Westbrook it is not working. The timeout. The Cowboys with 3 timeouts left. The Rams have 2. The clock shows 52 seconds, but evidently we can't rely upon it. Gives us time to spotlight the officials. The referee is Jerry Markbride and the umpire Art Demas. Head linesman Walt Peters. Then you have Bob McElwee, Ray Douglas, Bill Quinby, Charlie Musser, and the alternate is Jim Osborne. Well, they're on the walkie-talkie, as you can see upstairs.
You know, going back to the Dallas offense, Roger Staubach is an example, an excellent example of an athlete who has stayed in shape and at his age can play effectively and play for several more years. Works out, has good personal habits.
It'll be so interesting to see what the Cowboys do to try and combat the 7 defensive backs.
Should read 55 seconds. 3 seconds.
Now, Jerry Markbride has said the official clock should read 55 seconds. So the reason for the discussion, 3 precious seconds, and who's to say they won't be important? So the ball is teed up on the 30, and Rafael Septien, a former Ram, now trying to beat his ex-club. And the clock has been cranked to 55. 7-5 in favor of the Rams. A full house at Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. And this time Septien hits it again down the left side and again out of bounds. And the clock, of course, is frozen at 55. So he'll have to go back to the 25.
He's digging a hole for himself.
You know what I keep thinking of, George? The one line that you say over and over again, don't get too smart. Right. And the Cowboys are trying to be a little clever, and they've already spent 10 yards of precious Texas real estate.
That's right. You know, the teams that win in this league year after year do not make mistakes. They don't take chances. They stay sound. They know what they're doing. They don't try to say, we're going to fool them with this or we're going to do that.
You know, I don't want to lay the body at his doorstep. But can you imagine your voice echoing in the mind and hearts of one Tony Franklin today? Oh. Don't get too smart.
Gee, with over 3 minutes to play to violate Dick Vermeil's orders, that may have cost the game.
Well, Septien going backwards now will kick off from his 25. And the same trio, the Rams are not going to change personnel. Doss, Reisig, and Gravel are up front. And this time he thunders it the other way. Gravel lets it go by. Jim Jodat picks it up, and he has Eddie Hill blocking. And Jodat gets to the 31-yard line, and down he goes. Aaron Kyle falling on top of him. So after all of that, the Rams have pretty good field position. And what about strategy? What would you do? Would you play it cozy and go into the clubhouse leading by 2 points, or would you crank one up?
I would try to put points on the board. You're not going to get many points today. I think this is going to be a fairly low-scoring game. I'd throw a play-action pass in here, maybe not this down, but before the half was over, I'd go deep at least once, maybe twice.
All right, 1st and 10 on the Ram 30-yard line. Well, Ferragamo's going to put it up right away over the middle, and a great catch by Preston Denard. He's down at the 45. The fumble long after the whistle. Cliff Harris picked it up, but the whistle was an echo. So they picked up the first down.
Now the Cowboys are doing something that I think can help Ferragamo. They're just rushing 3 men, Ben.
And again, Ferragamo getting outside heat from Harvey Martin, and he has Rod Smith all alone. And now Smith is no longer all alone as he drowned in a sea of white shirts at about the 43 of Dallas. And the Rams will take a timeout. They'll have 1 timeout left with 17 seconds left.
You see how valuable that extra timeout would be right now? Now they have to really be careful with this 1 timeout.
And again, to refresh the memory of people, when the Rams lined up, Billy Waddy started line up left, then he ran over to line up right. There was definite confusion. The Rams had to call and use a precious timeout, and as you said, George, boy, could they use it now.
Well, they have to save the one remaining timeout to get position, get a little closer to kick a field goal.
Well, it is 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 43. Ray Malavasi talking to Vince Ferragamo. Ferragamo is 5 for 7. So he has certainly used the pass sparingly for 69 yards. One of them, the 35-yard touchdown pass to Wendell Tyler. Roger Staubach is 5 for 12, only 48 yards against 7 defensive backs, and he's had 1 interception.
You know, the Cowboys, the last 2 plays came in with just 3 men. So that gives Ferragamo the time to throw. And he's pretty good when he has time. Let's see what they do this time.
You know, the Dallas defense intercepted only 13 passes this year. That ties a club record for the fewest in a season.
That's amazing to win your division and just intercept 13 passes. I think they're coming in with 4 rushmen this time.
1st and 10 on the Cowboy 43. 17 seconds to the half. 7-5, Los Angeles. Ferragamo in his 3rd consecutive pass. And all alone is Waddy, and he's drilled by Benny Barnes to break it up. No possession. Benny Barnes just came over and almost knocked Waddy out of his shoes, and the ball went flying.
He had the ball. Benny Barnes just put the wood to him. That's what you like to see.
No completion, and that makes it 2nd and 10.
And that was a big tackle. Here it is. Now they're rushing with 4, running a stunt, a stop pattern. Now watch this hit. Went right for the ball. Good contact. They were in field goal range if he hung on to that.
No, 2nd and 10 on the Cowboy 43.
And 11 seconds.
Rams send Ron Smith to the left, Drew Hill, and Preston Denard go slot right. Ferragamo with White on top of him, going for broke to Ron Smith, and Smith caught it. Touchdown for Ron Smith, an incredible catch. He beat Aaron Kyle and Cliff Harris.
You know what happened? Ron Smith played the ball.
They make that Randy Hughes with Aaron Kyle.
And they did not play the ball. Here it is. He's going for that bomb we're talking about. Now Ron Smith played the ball. And the defenders did not. Double covered. He took the ball away from him. Here it is. A delivery sack. Delivery sack on Ferragamo by Randy White. Now watch this. Ron Smith goes up and takes it away from, I think it's Randy Hughes.
Aaron Kyle and Randy Hughes. 1 touchdown pass caught by Ron Smith this year, and now he makes a sensational catch. Poor snap, but the kick is good anyway. So you really have to compliment Nolan Cromwell, not Frank Corral. That pass came back wobbly, and Cromwell made a great hold to help Corral out. But here's another look at the touchdown pass.
Ferragamo stayed in there and took a blow from Randy White. A good pass. Ferragamo has a strong arm. Ron Smith just took it away from the 2 defenders. Like
Ron Smith, 2 years out of San Diego State. He was a number 2 draft choice by the Rams last year, so they thought a lot of him, and you can see why.
He's got good hands. Ben, he's the type of guy that'll make the great catch and drop the easy one.
Well, he made the great one, and the Rams now have shocked Texas in a weekend of shockers. Yeah. It is 14-5 Los Angeles.
We said the Dallas Cowboys look a little sluggish, and they do.
The winner in this game, if Dallas wins, Tampa Bay comes here. If the Rams win, the Rams go to Tampa Bay. So 14-5 Los Angeles with 3 seconds left. And of course you could go way back to the Cowboys trying to kick knuckleballs, finally kicking, and the Rams had pretty good field position. Onside kick, but it is fielded by Huther in Ram territory. The clock still frozen at 3 seconds, and the Cowboys will get a play in. Bruce Huther recovering the onside kick.
You got to put up a bomb and hope you get a deflected ball or a penalty or a catch like Ron Smith just made.
Well, you have Drew Pearson and Tony Hill, along with Billy Joe Dupree, now Preston Pearson and Tony Dorsett. So they are all of the offensive weapons that Staubach has at his command. And the Rams are going to load the fields with defensive backs again. 3 seconds to the half. 14-5 Los Angeles on touchdown passes to Wendell Tyler and Ron Smith.
The Rams shouldn't get beat here. You line up deep.
Hill and Pearson go wide left. Dupre was wide right, and the backs stay into block, and Staubach going deep, and he has got Pearson. Pearson out of bounds as the clock evidently has run out.
And there was a flag on the play.
There's a flag, and let's see now if the penalty is against a defensive team, why the half cannot end. So let's wait a minute.
I think it was against Dallas, Vin.
If it's against the offensive team, then this half is history. Evidently,
illegal formation
against the Cowboys, so the half is over.
Cowboys aren't thinking.
The Rams leading by 2 touchdown passes, 14 points. Wendell Tyler and Ron Smith. Dallas with a safety and a field goal.
For those parents who realize that $500 isn't...
Hi once again, everybody. Ben Scully along with George Allen. The start of the second half in Texas. The Rams 14 and the Cowboys 5. Did we learn anything from history? And somebody said we don't. Dallas during the regular season scored a little bit more in the second half of their games than in the first half. The Rams during the regular season scored 65% of their points in the first half. So it'll be interesting now to see if the Rams can score some more, and if the Cowboys can come from behind, because the Rams are leading 14-5.
You know, the other thing I noticed is this Dallas crowd doesn't help their team.
Hi once again, everybody. Ben Scully along with George Allen. The start of the second half in Texas. The Rams 14 and the Cowboys 5. Did we learn anything from history? And somebody said we don't. Dallas during the regular season scored a little bit more in the second half of their games than in the first half. The Rams during the regular season scored 65% of their points in the first half. So it'll be interesting now to see if the Rams can score some more, and if the Cowboys can come from behind, because the Rams are leading 14-5.
You know, the other thing I noticed is this Dallas crowd doesn't help their team, like for instance in Washington D.C.
There's Eddie Hill waiting for the kickoff, and Rafael Sepien puts his foot to it, and Hill will take it at the 5. To the 15, to the 20, grabbed by Steve Wilson, and brings him down with a necktie tackle as he went across the 25. So the Rams in reasonably good field position, 1st and 10, and they'll spot the ball on the Ram 27. Vince Ferragamo is 6 for 9 for 105 yards and 2 touchdown passes. One of them an incredible catch by Ron Smith, and the other to Wendell Tyler. Ferragamo has Waddy in a slot left inside Denard. Wendell Tyler looking for daylight, and they plug it up. And by the way, on the very top of that heap, you'll see number 78. That's John Dutton. Remember, Dutton went off with a strained right knee in the first half, and he's healthy enough to be back in there on the onset of the second. Jack Youngblood hurt his ankle but came back, but we have not seen Rod Perry return yet.
You know, one thing about Wendell Tyler, Ben, he'll run inside and he'll run outside. Sometimes a racehorse back of his size is strictly an outside runner, but Wendell will go inside just as hard as he will outside.
2nd and 7 on the Ram 30. Here comes Wendell. Bryant blocking on Randy Hughes, and Bob Brunig hit him so hard he bobbled the ball, but he held on to it. So Brunig, a big hit, number 53.
Well, that's the play that they have to stop right there. That's the play that they made the long gain around coming out of the hole.
Brunig was unable to get over as Bryant puts the slug on Randy Hughes, but that time Brunig did make the stop.
Now Dallas is in their nickel defense. This is a big series for the Dallas defense. They've just been scored on.
It is 3rd and 5 on the Ram 32. Denard left, Waddy right, and they split Bryant and Tyler. Ferragamo with Thornton trying to come from the outside, so he goes the other way. And Vince throwing, intercepted by Dennis Thurman. And Thurman is to the 40 and to the 35-yard line. Dennis Thurman, who went to the University of Southern California, now comes up with the biggest defensive play against Los Angeles.
Well, the reason for, now the crowd is coming alive. The reason for this, Ferragamo has time. Now when you roll out, the coverage goes with the flow. Dennis Thurman came in, he laid the ball up. It was a looping type of pass, picked off. He shouldn't have thrown that ball. When you roll out, a lot of interceptions are caused by rolling out. You don't know where the defenders are.
Well, here come the Cowboys now. 1st and 10 on the Ram 34. Drew Pearson wide right, and Tony Hill goes left. Staubach to Tony Dorsett. Newhouse, a big block on Elmendorf, and he is inside the 25 with flags on the play. But what a crunching block Robert Newhouse put on Dave Elmendorf. He spun him around.
The penalty's on the Cowboys. Holding.
A holding call against Dallas, spoiling the run. On the sidelines, Dennis Thurman, who went to school at USC, picking off that pass from Vince Ferragamo.
Holding, number 89, offense, first down.
That's the tight end, Billy Joe Dupree, who was guilty of the infraction, and B.J. heads for OB. It is 1st and 20, and the ball back on the Ram 45. Tony Hill goes right. Full house, and that's Drew Pearson in the middle and now in motion. Dorsett with Newhouse blocking, and coming up to make the tackle is Elmendorf, as Brzezinski met Newhouse block and straightened him up, and that jammed in the play.
Well, you know, I always used to feel, Ben, that when we got an interception, we'd tell this to our offense. It doesn't mean a thing unless you do something with it. If you get field position like they have, and you don't do anything with it, it can hurt your morale. You go down a little bit.
Well, Vince Ferragamo taking a breather on the sidelines, thinking about that pass, and Dennis Thurman still basking in the glow of that big interception, talking to Aaron Mitchell. 2nd and 18 on the Ram 42. Shotgun for Staubach with Preston Pearson behind him. And they go to Pearson on a little screen, and he gets across the 40. John Fitzgerald, the center, threw a block on Rod Perry, and we mention that because Perry is back in the ball game again.
All the injured players are back now. That's what a playoff game will do. Now, this is a pretty good call against that 7-back defense. A screen pass. The defense is weak to the outside on the force. I think somewhere along here we're going to see Dallas run a quick toss, pull the guard and tackle, and you'll see some yardage.
3rd and 13 on the Ram 37-yard line. Dupre shakes loose from the line inside Drew Pearson on the right, and Springs is in there on a wing. Springs stays in to block. Staubach pass broken up by Dave Elmendorf, and it was intended for Tony Hill.
Had him covered, and Roger was rushed. He kind of threw off balance. Actually, that ball was almost intercepted.
Elmendorf had played 6 weeks with a bad shoulder.
See that?
Evidently, he's healthy again.
That ball could have been intercepted.
So it is 4th and 13.
That penalty put them in the hole, Vin. They couldn't recover from it, even though it's only 10 yards for holding now.
They went from 1st and 10 on the 34 to a 1st and 20 because of the holding. And that took all the air out of the Dallas drive. So Danny White will be punting from midfield, and Eddie Brown is standing inside the Ram 10. Then it kicks it into the corner, and it'll go out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. It will mark it at the Ram 14. So the Rams, the last time they had the ball, remember, from their own 8-yard line, they eventually scored on a pass to Wendell Tyler. They're leading 14-5 in the early going of the 3rd quarter. Danny White punted 73 times without one block, but the Rams are getting close, George.
Yes, they had a chance to block it right here. Here's Drew Hill, 87. He kind of veered away a little bit, probably afraid of roughing the kicker. They might get one the next time. If you're coming that close, you got to go for it.
Drew Hill is only 5'9". Had he been taller, he'd have blocked it. Nolan Cromwell got his fingertips on an earlier punt. Meanwhile, it's 1st and 10 on the Ram 14. Wendell Tyler following Cullen Bryant. Got away from Hegman. Brunig sits on top of him. So the linebackers shake hands. They headed him off at the pass and got him.
Well, in a game like this, it's a defensive game so far. The Dallas defense has to outplay the Ram defense. They got one turnover. The offense couldn't do anything about it.
Special teams men Joe Harris and Jim Jodat stretching muscles on the sideline. It is 2nd and 11. Rams losing a yard on that play. Billy Waddy going wide right and Ron Smith left. And they give to Cullen Bryant, and he runs into people as he falls across the 15-yard line. D.D. Lewis hit him at the ankles, and Roger Staubach trying to figure out how to get this high-powered Dallas offense off the ground. Staubach is 6 for 14 for only 53 yards and 1 interception.
Well, that's when you face a good defense, most of these quarterbacks have an off day, no matter who you are.
Well, it's 3rd and 8. The ball is on the Rams 16. And, of course, this crowd coming alive, hoping to see Dallas shut down the Ram offense and for the Cowboys to get the ball again. Ferragamo, low over the middle. Denard, no catch. No catch. Cliff Harris was on his back.
A good pass. Cliff Harris would have picked that off. Watch this. Cliff Harris got the jump on the ball. The ball was a little low. If that ball would have been thrown a little higher, Cliff Harris might have picked it off.
So Ken Clark will come in to punt for Los Angeles. We can take another look at that low pass.
Here it is again. Good play by Cliff Harris.
Steve Wilson standing on the Cowboy 40. Ken Clark will be punting from the Ram 5. And we'll see about the Cowboys now. Dennis Thurman is the wide out on the left side. We'll see if he can get close to the punt. He's coming, and he's picked up by Eddie Brown. Wade Manning will take it. And Harris and Andrews and Osteen barrel him out of bounds. But the Cowboys are in excellent field position because the defense stiffened and held the Rams deep in their own territory. 9:59 left in the third quarter. 9:59 left in the third quarter. I'm Vin Scully along with George Allen. And the Cowboys studying the charts, but right now the offense is studying the Rams. 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 46. Tony Hill goes wide right. And in motion is Drew Pearson. Play action fake to Tony Dorsett. Staubach deep, and he's got a great catch from Drew Pearson. And he's going to go down at the 25. So Drew Pearson picks it off at the Ram 25.
There it is, play action. Roger has all day to throw. Nice throw. Drew Pearson coming over the middle, which he does so well. That's the guy that we always felt we had to stop when we played Dallas. Number 1, Drew Pearson.
They put Drew Pearson and Pat Thomas together on that play. And, of course, Thomas has been hurt. He hadn't played since October until a brief outing against New Orleans. 1st and 10 on the Ram 25. Pitch to Ron Springs. Left-handed pass in the end zone to Hill. Touchdown. One call, touchdown. One official in the left-hand corner put his hands high in the air. The other official came over and waved him off, saying no.
That's a tough. Here it is, the left-hand run pass. Let's see if he's in or out.
Now you can't see the official off screen to the left, but he's the one who held his hands high.
Here it is again.
Now there's the official. You keep the frames going.
Looks like he's in.
Yeah, it looked like he was in, but they're going to take it away from him.
Sure looks like he's in.
And it is 2nd and 10. So the pass from Springs to Hill, no good. We'll take another look, because that could be the biggest play of the game. But let's see about Staubach. He has Salty in motion, and they give it to Dorsett. And he is down to the 15-yard line, perhaps a first down. Let's take another look.
Here it is. Well,
they had it appeared as if one foot was down and the other just inside the back line. As we said, the official in the left-hand corner indicated touchdown. The official coming from the middle indicated no TD. And George, all I can do is remember the game we did involving your team in St. Louis a few years ago.
That's right. Controversy. Judgment calls.
It is 3rd and 2. They're spotting the ball on the Rams 17. Ron Springs is back in there with Dorsett, and Salty is in motion. They go to Springs, and he gets to the 15, and I would believe that's a first down. The official ruling, if you can keep that one frame in your mind, was that the second step was partially on the wide back line, indicating he was out of the end zone, so no touchdown.
Earlier, you had talked about Ron Springs possibly throwing that left-handed pass.
And he threw it to Tony Hill then, and he threw it to Tony Hill today.
He beat Kenny Stone in St. Louis on it, I believe.
So it is 1st and 10 on the Ram 15. 14-5 Rams, and Staubach would appear to have the machine now beginning to make some noise. Play action fake, but a rush by the Rams, and he throws it away.
Well,
heads up play by Roger Staubach.
And it's good defense for this reason. Roger's been successful on 1st and 10 with play action. The Rams dog, you're blocking for play action isn't quite as sound. They were right in there on him, forced him to hurry his throw.
Well, Doug Cosby, one of the tight ends, bringing in the new play. Eddie Brown is coming in for Jack Reynolds.
Right. Now they got the nickel in. 5 defensive backs, 4 rushmen, 2 linebackers.
2nd and 10 on the Ram 15. Earlier, the Cowboys had it 1st and 10 on the Ram 34, and they were rebuffed. Staubach lobbing it in the left-hand corner. No good. Wait a minute. It'll be pass interference against Jim Youngblood. The pass intended for Tony Dorsett, I believe. Interference against Los Angeles in the end zone. That means they'll put it on the 1-yard line.
Well, he had him beaten. It's what you want. A back on a linebacker. Well, he interfered with him. It was a good call.
So Dorsett went down on the bump from Jim Youngblood. That's a 14-yard pass penalty, and it is 1st and goal for the Cowboys on the Ram 1-yard line.
That's the same play that Wendell scored on against the Cowboys.
Tom Landry talking to his assistants upstairs. The Cowboys are asking the crowd to be quiet. Springs is in there now with Newhouse. Out of the eye, Salty is on a wing on the left side. Staubach to the second man, Springs. He's in there.
There it is from the goal line. Straight ahead. And blocking. They like Springs. They have a lot of confidence in him. He's going to be quite a back. He is already.
Ron Springs rushed for 2 touchdowns during the regular year. Now it is 14-11 in favor of the Rams. And Septien out of a hole by Danny White. And the kick is through. So with 7 minutes and 35 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, suddenly this big crowd comes alive at Texas Stadium in Irving. The Rams 14, Dallas 12. With 7:35 left in the 3rd quarter, the Cowboys get close. They trail now 14-12, and Septien, no tricks on his kickoff, sends it to Eddie Hill, who juggles at the 9, but he's to the 25. And the white shirts bring him down just shy of the 30-yard line. So the Rams will put it in play. 1st and 10 on their own 29. The drive for the Dallas Cowboys, 54 yards on 5 plays. A couple of big ones, a pass to Drew Pearson. Then, of course, the pass interference. Jim Youngblood charged with it against Tony Dorsett. The touchdown that was called back on the left-handed pass from Ron Springs to Tony Hill. And finally, Ron Springs went over from the 1. 1st First and 10 Rams. Wendell Tyler. He was hit by D.D. Lewis and fell forward for a couple of yards.
Well, Wendell's still their big play guy. He's their home run hitter. He's inside and outside, whereas Cullen Bryant is primarily an inside runner. Dallas has now taken the momentum away from the Rams. It's up to the Ram offense now to get some points on the board, keep the ball.
The Rams have it 2nd and 6 on their own 33 as Ray Malavasi trying to breathe a little fire into the Ram offense. Ferragamo pitching to Tyler. Pretty good block by Cullen Bryant on D.D. Lewis, and Benny Barnes finally gets him out. But a fine block. Cullen Bryant just wiped out D.D. Lewis and made the play go.
Well, here it is. It's a toss to the weak side from the eye. Now, D.D. Lewis got blocked real well by Cullen Bryant, but he played it too wide and too deep. He got in too far. You get in that deep, you take yourself out.
Oh, it's first and 10 on the Ram 47.
McCutcheon's in there, man.
Lawrence McCutcheon and Cullen Bryant. McCutcheon number 30. Ron Smith wide left. They have Billy Waddy in the backfield for the moment. And now he's in motion. And they'll go to Bryant with Kent Hill blocking on Randy Hughes, and he's dragged down from behind by Mike Hegman. Good play by Hegman because Hughes had his hands full with big Kent Hill. Wendell Tyler would appear to be all right, but there's some concern on those people who come over to visit with him.
He seemed to have hurt his leg a little bit on the last play. He carried the ball, and he came off, and McCutcheon's in there. When they lose this guy, they lose a big part of their offense. He'll be back, though.
So it is 2nd and 10 on the Ram 47. They lead 14-12. 6 minutes and 12 seconds left in the third. Drew Hill is wide left and Waddy right. Play action fake to McCutcheon, and Ferragamo with some time throws no good. Bob Brunig, the middle linebacker, was fighting off the tight end Terry Nelson and broke up the play.
Terry Nelson had the ball. Brunig came back and knocked it loose. That's about 3 times today. Good hits by the secondary has jarred the ball loose.
So Terry Nelson, who has been a tight end blocker today, hasn't had his hands on the football. They go to him, and now they take him out. It is 3rd and 10. Rams trying to build up something. They started on their own 29. They moved it out to the 47.
Tyler's back in.
Ron Hill is wide right. Waddy goes slot left inside Drew Hill. Ferragamo with the rush coming from the outside completes it to Billy Waddy. Dennis Thurman along with Cliff Harris made the tackle right about at the first down marker, so they might have to measure. We'll see. It's first down.
Here's an example of Ferragamo going back. He's got a stop pattern call, which is a good call for him. He has to throw over the arms. That's a safe place to call, and it's good for a young quarterback like Ferragamo.
George, the only rush that the Cowboys are getting are from the outside. Is that the price you pay with the flex?
Well, in that situation, they're teeing off. They forget their flex on 3rd and 10.
It's 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 42. Waddy is inside Drew Hill. Play action fake to Wendell Tyler. And again, he's down the middle, intercepted by number 43, Cliff Harris, to the 35, to the 40. Drew Hill drags him down from behind along with Dennis Harris at the 43 of Dallas.
Well, here's play action. And the old pro, Cliff Harris, is in the right spot. Boy, threw it right to him. Good return. Big play for Dallas. And if the Rams are smart.
And suddenly the Cowboys, who had intercepted only 13 during the regular year, have picked off 2. One by Dennis Thurman. They didn't cash it in. And now one by Cliff Harris. We'll see if they can do it this time. 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 43. Salty moving to the left side. Tony Dorsett decides to go the other way, gets around Youngblood, and then Jack Reynolds turns him into Mike Fanning and Fred Dreyer.
Well, only a guy with Dorsett's speed or someone like Tyler can take a play like that, reverse, come back, and pick up some yardage.
Cliff Harris, who picked off that pass from Ferragamo to breathe new life into the Cowboys. The veteran, as usual, making another clutch pass. And Vince Ferragamo has now been burned twice in the second half, and the young quarterback is starting to feel the pinch. 2nd and 8 on the Cowboy 45. Tony Dorsett on a draw, but again, Jack Reynolds just butts heads with him and drops him in his tracks at the line of scrimmage.
Well, they're still trying to get that running game going. We said all along, you're not going to make many yards against this Ram defense running. The only chance you have is to throw. Roger had pretty good field position here. Now he's going to have to throw against 7 defensive backs, it looks like. Let's see.
The biggest pass so far for Roger Staubach from the Cowboy 46. He passed to Drew Pearson down to the Ram 25 that eventually led to a touchdown. So 3rd and 8 and out of the shotgun. And Staubach down the middle on a great catch by Preston Pearson. He beat Dave Elmendorf. What a catch by Pearson.
Yeah. You know, what a pro that guy is.
Oh, remarkable.
What a pro. He's at his best in the big games with pressure on him. He hurt himself a little bit. He's limping.
You know, an interesting thing about Preston Pearson, 23 of his 26 catches this year gave Dallas a first down, and 16 of his 17 catches were on 3rd down for a first down conversion, and the one time he missed, the pass went for 9 yards.
1 yard short.
What a player. 1st and 10 on the Ram 45. Tony Dorsett with Newhouse and Crosby blocking, and a good play by Jack Youngblood to turn it back in. Jack Youngblood was the man who closed the door. Otherwise, Dorsett might have broken one. And even though Youngblood is playing on a bad right ankle, he had enough to turn it in. Watch.
Good effort by Dorsett. Now, this is good defense by the Rams, and only a great back like Dorsett would not be hit for a loss.
He just got out of Youngblood's hands and decided to go the other way.
He had him for a 3-yard loss there.
So it is 2nd and 6 as we go back to live action. The ball on the Ram 41. 14-12 Los Angeles, but the Cowboys are coming. Staubach going down the right side. A flag on the play. Billy Joe Dupree makes the tackle as Pat Thomas upends him at the 35. But there's a flag, so let's wait and see. The referee, Jerry Markbright.
That's against Dallas.
And one of those illegal motion penalties.
Motion penalties. Everybody in the league is shifting. Everybody's going in motion. Everybody's giving the defense 2 and 3 fronts.
And the most painful motion play we've seen thus far was against Chicago, ruining an 84-yard run by Walter Payton.
I started to say that earlier. That was a big play, maybe the turning point in the game.
Illegal formation, number 88, offense, 2nd down.
Oh, that's Drew Pearson, who is moving around. Preston Pearson has caught 2 today, so he moves past Cliff Branch into 4th place in NFL postseason play. Preston Pearson, 34 years old, he's in the record books. So it is 2nd and 11 on the Ram 46. Drew Pearson, number 88, comes wide left. Preston is behind Staubach. Staubach to Saldi, and Jay Saldi makes a great reception, taking it away from both Ivory Sully and Dwayne Osteen.
That's what you call precision passing. Watch this pass. Good protection. It's right on the money. Great catch by Jay Saldi, right in there. It had to take a perfect pass to get in there.
So it's a first down for the Cowboys. 1:24 left. The anguish of Ray Malavasi as he looks at the clock, knowing that just a few minutes ago he led 14-5, and now the Cowboys are moving in. 1st and 10 on the Ram 31. Saldi in motion, and it is Dorsett. And the Rams pinch him down at about the 27-yard line. How How many times has Tony Dorsett carried? That is now the 15th. Remember that note we gave you earlier? That in his 50 games with the Cowboys, if Dorsett carries the ball a minimum of 20 times, the Cowboys have won 15 and lost only once.
You know, his longest run against the Redskin defense since he's been in the league, 11 yards.
Well, it is 2nd and 6 on the Ram 27. First man, Robert Newhouse, and he's across the 25. He has to get inside the 22. And Tom Landry talking to Billy Joe Dupree, and Jay Salty comes over to listen as Dupree comes in with the play.
Well, right now, the Cowboys have kind of taken charge. 7 seconds, 6 seconds.
And the clock winding down. 3, 2, 1. And that will be all for Ray Malavasi, the Cowboys, and the Rams. That's the end of the third quarter. With the score, the Rams 14 and the Cowboys 12. The start of the fourth quarter here at Texas Stadium in Irving, with the Rams leading the Cowboys 14-12, but because of 2 interceptions in the second half, first by Dennis Thurman and then later by Cliff Harris, the Cowboys have suddenly had the momentum, and they are driving now to go ahead. 3rd and 3 on the 27. In motion, Dorsett. Staubach passing on 3rd and 3, and he's got Drew Pearson at the 10. Nolan Cromwell brings him down, and Drew almost lost the ball.
Yeah.
But he did hold on to it for the first down.
In the clutch, you got to stop Drew Pearson. Here he is coming over the middle on a slant pass, well thrown. And right here he almost lost it. Dallas had the best 3rd down offense in the league last year. Here he is coming over, wide open, goes up for the ball. He's hit by Nolan Cromwell, and right in here he almost lost the ball.
Drew caught 19 for more than 20 yards each this year. He's explosive. 1st and goal from the Ram 9. Newhouse. They close up the hole, but he still picked up a yard or 2. Loose ball there. It looked like Newhouse had trouble holding on to it.
In fact, when I said Dallas had the best 3rd down offense in the NFL, this is the 2nd year in a row they've done that. Somebody's down.
They were battling for that football. Newhouse appeared to juggle it momentarily and then grabbed it again. Herbert Scott, the center, leading the way. Tom Landry studying his charts. It would appear in his 20 years with the Cowboys he has seen it all. 2nd and 8, 2nd and goal on the 8. Salty goes the other way, and so do the Rams. And it'll be Dorsett going in that direction, and with 2 men away, Cromwell can bring him down. But what a job Newhouse did on Osteen and Brzezinski.
Yes, he did.
Robert Newhouse just took the 2 men out to make the play work. Watch
Newhouse's block here. Got them both. Sheer speed. Now, Cromwell has good speed, or he would have scored.
Well, the Cowboys trailing by 2, driving to take a lead. They led in the game 2-0 on a safety. The Rams scored. The Cowboys had a field goal, but the Rams scored again. It was 14-5 at the half. It is now 14-12.
They're going to get a penalty here if they don't hurry up.
And they've got 3 seconds left, and they call time. They were down to 1 second on the 30-second clock, and Staubach using the timeout.
Boy, you never want to get a penalty inside the 10. That's a cardinal sin. What happened is that they sent a man in with a play. He came in a little bit late. Roger didn't have the time.
12:49 left. With their backs against the wall. It is 3rd and goal from the 2 for Dallas. Reggie Doss, number 71, is in there for Fred Dreyer to get a little weight up front. And now we see Dreyer is in there. Youngblood is in there. And Doss is playing for Larry Brooks. So a 3rd and goal from the 2. In motion, Dorsett. Play action fake to Newhouse, and all alone is Jay Saldy. All alone as Jack Reynolds blitzed and decked Staubach, and Staubach is shaken up.
What a great play by Roger Staubach. Let's see if we can see that again. Reynolds blitz, there's nobody can pick him up. And Roger stays in there, takes the blow, his body exposed, wide open. Great execution. Takes a lot of guts to stay in there and take that blow and throw the ball.
Well, the Cowboys on that touchdown pass and a very groggy Roger Staubach coming over. I'm not sure if he can hear the plaudits of the crowd because the bells have to be still ringing after that hard hit from Jack Reynolds. But undismayed, he found Jay Saldy for the go-ahead touchdown. It is 18-14 Cowboys. Rafael Septien out of a hold from Danny White. The spot, the kick, it's good. And so we take one more look.
Here it is.
Here comes Reynolds, 64 to shoot the gap.
Right up the gut, play action. They didn't pick him up.
And Jay Saldy all alone.
Wide open.
With 12:46 left in the game. Roger Staubach is well enough to get on the telephone as they supply and put ice to the back of his neck. Boy, here was some shot from Reynolds, but he still threw the touchdown to Saldy. 19-14 Cowboys. We have 12:46 left. Septien kicking, and Eddie Hill will take it on his 2 to the 10, 15, 20. And stacked up at about the 23-yard line where the Rams will put it in play, trailing by 5. Tonight on CBS, a winning lineup, starting with 60 Minutes, followed by Archie Bunker's plays, One Day at a Time, Alice, the Jeffersons, Trapper John, M.D., right here. What scared me is he really acted like he knew what was going on when the Cowboys scored that go-ahead touchdown. First and 10 on the Ram 23. In motion is Ron Smith. Here comes Wendell Tyler looking for a hole, finally picked it off and goes inside across the 30 out to about the 32 or 3. If he gets to the 33, he has a first down.
Well, they're still running the left side of the Cowboy defense like we talked about at the top of the show, and Wendell is on the verge of breaking one of these. He only picked up a few yards on that play, but he was on the verge of breaking it.
Danny White was warming up early, and of course after seeing Staubach take that lick from Reynolds, when he warms up this time, you think he might be getting ready to come back in. 2nd and 1 for the Rams on their 32. Cullen Bryant, and he's got the first down as he gets out across the 35-yard line. It was Bob Brunig, number 53, and Cliff Harris, number 43, to bring him down. And of course you have to salute Cliff Harris. It was his interception that eventually led to the go-ahead touchdown for Dallas.
He's a real pro. Always ready, doesn't make mistakes. Fine leadership.
11:31 left in the game. It is 19-14 Dallas. The Rams with plenty of time. 1st and 10 on their own 37. And they'll try Tyler, who gives it to Waddy and Harvey Martin, but he gets away from Harvey Martin. Randy White is chasing him. So is D.D. Lewis, and he finally got out. But Harvey Martin could have dropped him for a good 15-yard loss.
Here it is. Reverse to Waddy. Waddy's good athletic ability made a miss. Waddy's a 2nd-round pick and a fine athlete. Good runner.
Well, they get to the 40, and Staubach appears to be okay now. And the Rams have it 2nd and 7 with 11 minutes and 7 seconds left. On an inside handoff, he was hooked by Larry Cole, but he was running so fast that even though Cole bumped him, he went for a couple of yards.
Yeah, you know, Tyler's carrying that ball a little better. He's protecting it more. Here it is.
Watch 63 right there.
Fast trap. Larry Cole just got a piece of him. He was closing down. Tyler hung on to the ball. Here comes the nickel defense, the pass rushing personnel.
So it is 3rd and 3. The ball on the Ram 44-yard line. They started on their own 23. And we'll see what Ferragamo comes up with. He sends Waddy right and Smith left. Inside handoff to Bryant, and he breaks it all the way to the Cowboy 45. And boy, that was a runaway truck.
Yeah, Ben, I was surprised they used the nickel personnel in 3rd and 3. The one thing that I didn't want against the nickel was to be in a situation where they had a chance to run the ball. We want them to throw. 3rd and 3 with the Rams running game is a running situation.
Staubach still talking to Danny White on the sidelines. 1st and 10, and they figure Bryant's knee touched on the 46. Wendell Tyler in a mob scene gets down to the 40-yard line when last seen.
You know what Ferragamo's doing? Everything has been on sound in this series. Every play that has been called has been on sound. Going quickly, not allowing the Cowboy defense to get set too much.
By the way, we had a sideline shot a moment ago, so we see Larry Brooks. Remember, he was not there in the goal line stand, and we wondered if he was hurt. Evidently, he is okay. There he is, sitting on a helmet alongside Jack Youngblood. 2nd and 4 on the Cowboy 40. Waddy in a slot left inside Smith. They'll try Bryant's number. And this time he runs into Larry Cole, and Larry brings him down right at the 40-yard line. They used to say Larry Cole was a member of the unknown club, but boy, he's sure getting his share of publicity this year, and deservedly so.
Well, he's that reliable pro that's been around, that appreciates, that gets himself ready, gives the team the leadership. Now here's the same situation, 3rd and 3. Here comes the nickel again.
Terry Nelson comes out, Ron Smith and Billy Waddy go right, and Drew Hill go left. It is 3rd and 3 on the Cowboy 39. Inside handoff to Bryant, and he's inside the 35 for a 1st down.
He made it again. That's real gamble to run that nickel defense in a 3rd and 3 situation with a quarterback like Ferragamo, where you got to stop the run first and the pass second.
That's twice now. They were 3rd and 3 on the Ram 44, and Bryant went to the Cowboy 46. They were 3rd and 3 on the Cowboy 39. They went to the nickel, and the Rams move it to the 34.
Big series for the Ram offense.
Ferragamo has it 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 34. Waddy in motion. Wendell Tyler, and dragged down at the last minute as he tried to cut back against the grain, and he falls shy of the 31-yard line. And it was Mike Hegman, number 58, who was able to slant it and
you know
get
what
him.
Mike Hegman did? He stayed at home. It's so easy for the middle linebacker to overrun that play, and with a guy like Wendell, he'll come right back up the gut.
Tom Landry and many of the Cowboys were saying the one thing they really feared was Tyler cutting back against the grain. That was the thing they spotted so often in the film. 2nd and 8 on the Cowboy 32. Ferragamo looks left and goes deep, and down there is Waddy, and he can't hold it. Right on him is Benny Barnes.
Waddy had it in his hands. Benny Barnes was right with him. Let's see if we can see that again. Backing straight up. He lays it up here. Now watch Barnes come in. Now Waddy gets it right here. He slapped it away, knocked it loose, knocked it out of his hands.
And again, the absence of a Dallas rush.
That's right. Dallas, the Rams offensive line has given Ferragamo the time. Doug France is handling Harvey Martin right now.
It is 3rd and 8 on the Cowboy 32. It is 19-14 Dallas. 7 minutes and 10 seconds left in the game. Ferragamo over the middle to Ron Smith, and it's a hot potato. No good. He had a pass and he couldn't catch it.
Well,
Aaron Mitchell was there and he just juggled and dropped it.
Well, he took to me, that's a fumble. He took a couple of steps with it. Let's watch it. 3-man rush. Now what? Look at there. He's running with the ball.
Even so, though, he was juggling, and according to the rules, you have to be able to do something with the ball indigenous to the game, and there wasn't a thing he could have done with that football but drop it.
It's a judgment call again. 4th and 8.
4th and 8 on the 32. Timeout Rams, and gives us time to tell you that although Roger Staubach was badly grazed, they tell us that bruised and dazed, he will be back. Here's the 1 winning lineup Monday night on CBS. WKRP in Cincinnati, followed by The Last Resort, MASH, House Calls, and Lou Grant. Big play for the Rams now. 4th and 8 on the Cowboy 32. 7 minutes and 4 seconds left in the game. 19-14 Dallas.
Then the last play, they went with a 3-man rush. Ferragamo's hurt them with that 3-man rush.
Waddy and Drew Hill go slot right. Ron Smith goes left. 4th and 8. Ferragamo under some rush, throwing and no good. A flag on the play. It might be Cliff Harris interfering with Drew Hill. I believe so, and that will give the Rams a first down on the Cowboy 20.
Boy. Well, they had pretty good pressure here. Delivery sack. Here it is again.
And there's Harris and Drew Hill. Arguing continues, but the Rams are going to get the ball evidently on the Cowboy 20.
Boy.
The officials, however, are holding quite a discussion, so wait a minute.
It's hard to tell where the interference was on that play.
And, of course, the crowd is somewhat sullen and mutinous because they saw two officials conflict on a play that was a pass to Tony Hill in the end zone earlier. So Jerry Markbright will now tell us.
No foul.
No foul.
The defender did not shove.
How do you do?
That's what I thought.
And the Rams are shocked. And they're going to have to surrender the ball. Look at that. That's Jeff Rutledge saying, how can you reverse yourself? Let's take another look at the play.
Here it is. Ferragamo's under good pressure. Delivery sack. Now here it is. No, there's no interference there. None that I can see.
Well, let's put it this way. There isn't any now.
No.
And with 6:59 left in the game, it is 1st and 10 Cowboys on the Cowboy 32, and the Rams can't believe it. They are thoroughly shocked. Hill is inside Pearson, slot left, and Dupree shakes loose and goes right. Staubach to Dorsett. And Dorsett still going. Across midfield, still going. Down to the 42 of the Rams. And it looked like the Rams were still thinking about the pass interference play that got away.
Very good comment, Ben, because that's sometimes what happens. The Cowboys now with 6 minutes to play are going to run the football. Dorsett makes a tremendous run here. Sloppy tackling by the Rams, but you got to give him the credit. He kept his balance, had good leverage. Jack Youngblood's coming out now.
1st and 10 on the Ram 42. We have 6:19 left in the game. Youngblood been playing on a bad ankle, and it showed on that play. He couldn't react inside at all to it. 1st and 10 on the Ram 42. Staubach to Springs. Newhouse is tied up. Brzezinski has him and slings him down.
Well, Brzezinski's playing that perfectly. He's getting across. He's not trading one for one. He's stringing it out. He's going to be an all-pro very shortly.
Now remember, the Rams had it 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 34. That was a golden opportunity for them to even get close to really put some heat on Dallas, and instead they wind up surrendering the ball, and the first play by Dorsett gives Staubach and company breathing room.
And I'm sure what they're thinking, Ben, is to get down in field goal range, because a field goal here is almost as good as a touchdown.
2nd and 10 on the Ram 42. Ron Springs behind Robert Newhouse. And they'll try Newhouse, and Jim Youngblood grabs him and takes a ride across the 40-yard line.
What they want to do is keep the clock going, run the football first. Now here come the Rams in with the 7 defensive backs. Cowboys countering with their pass personnel.
George, to give a footnote to your remark, Dallas led the NFL in ball control this year. And when the teams met in October, Dallas held the ball for over 40 minutes.
Tremendous.
The time is on their side now. 3rd and 8 on the Ram 40. Staubach out of the shotgun. Pearson staying in to block. And the pass to Drew Pearson, no good, with Pat Thomas right there with him.
Well, Drew Pearson looked like he was limping there a little bit and didn't see the ball. Roger had to do that because he was rushed. They dogged him.
Preston Pearson, who was in there blocking on the shotgun, was shaken up on the play, and it is Preston Pearson down on his right knee.
Timeout charge to the officials.
He took a Ram who buried him as he tried to block for Staubach. So Preston Pearson thoroughly shaken up on that last play.
I think it's just his wind. I don't think he's injured.
Time left, 4 minutes and 29 seconds. It is 4th and 8. The ball is on the Ram 40. Take another look. Here is Preston Pearson, and look at number 42, the strong safety Elmendorf, and Pearson meets him head up, and I think Elmendorf's knee might have hit Preston Pearson in the stomach.
He's all right.
He's okay as he jogs off. So it is 4th and 8.
Now here's where you want to kick it out of bounds or make the punt returner field it inside the 15-yard line.
The punt man is Eddie Brown, a most experienced receiver, and standing on the Cowboy 45 is Danny White. Good snap, no rush, wide angles for the sidelines, and let's see. It'll hit and go in. So the Rams will put it in play with 4 minutes and 22 seconds left in the game. 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line. With time left with 4 minutes and 22 seconds and Dallas leading 19-14, the Rams put it in play. 1st and 10 on their 20. They go slot right. Ron Smith is inside Billy Waddy. Brian and Tyler the running backs. Ferragamo, who has been intercepted twice, going to the air anyway, and he's got Waddy to the 40, to the 45, midfield and out of bounds, and it looked like Benny Barnes committed himself too soon and left Waddy wide open.
He did. Benny Barnes got a big jump on it. He read the pass and read Ferragamo all the way. Now here it is. Stop pattern. Waddy's we said a good athlete, can really run with that football. He's been playing good football for the Rams the last few weeks.
So a first down from the Ram 20 to the Cowboy 44. 3:52 left in the game. A pitch back to Tyler with Bryant blocking, and a good play by Randy Hughes. Bryant couldn't block Hughes, and he submarined Tyler. Good play.
They went on sound on that play. I thought there was going to be a flag, didn't you?
So 2nd and 9 on the 43.
They're going on quick counts.
Which is a little tough when you're on the road, wouldn't you say?
Yes, it is. This is the series for the Rams. They have to score here.
2nd and 10 on the 44, the Cowboys. Slot right. Smith is inside Waddy. Both backs flare under a rush, but Ferragamo with a flag on the play fumbles it out of bounds. But let's see about the flag.
They dogged him that time.
Evidently it's against the Rams, because the way Mike Hegman applauded, you know it is. It's going to be holding and against Los Angeles.
It was a delayed dog, Ben, very effective. You can't see it. To the right of our screen. Here it is.
Boy, you talk about Drew Hill having his hands full, and Doug France, one of those two, apparently involved in the holding.
They haven't dogged very much today, but when they have, it's been very, very effective. It looked like they were trying to screen to Wendell Tyler on that play.
So Jerry Markbright will put the ball back into Ram territory at the 46.
Holding. Number 77.
And it was Doug France. We knew it was either Kent Hill or Doug France. They were the two men trying to pick up the rush.
Doug's been doing a good job so far in this ball game.
2nd and 20 from the Ram 46. They had it 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 44. So that's a damaging play.
5 defensive backs.
Slot right with 3 minutes and 4 seconds left in the game. The backs stay in to help out. And Ferragamo cranking and throwing deep to Waddy. No good. Double coverage there. Cliff Harris and Billy Waddy were battling for the ball as it went out of bounds, and there is another man hurt for Dallas. Kenny Barnes is slowly assisted to his feet. There's Barnes going down, and then Harris on top of him.
And you know what? What happened on that play? Again, the Cowboys rushed with only 3 men, and Ferragamo had the time to go deep. They have not had any success rushing with 3 men to date.
Drew Hill coming to the sidelines. It is 3rd and 20. 2 minutes and 56 seconds left in the game. The Cowboys 19 and the Rams 14. It is 3rd and 20. Waddy is right and Smith goes left. In motion is Tyler. Trying to keep Harvey Martin out. Ferragamo bounces it to Cullen Bryant.
Well, Ferragamo threw that on the run, a partial rollout, and many times you're under a throw.
Give you an idea of the difference in the first half. Ferragamo was 6 for 9. In the second half, he is 2 for 10 and 2 interceptions.
Well, they're deciding whether they're going to punt the ball or go for it.
4th and 20.
To me, you got to punt the ball. There's almost 3 minutes to play.
I was looking for Ken Clark, and there he is, number 13. He's the answer.
There's no decision on it.
No. 4th and 20 with 2:52 left. And once again, the Rams will have to rely on the defense in order to get the ball back.
They're going to get a penalty here unless they get going.
Steve Wilson all alone. 1 second left on the clock, and the clock shows time has run out. And now the officials call, so let's see. It should be a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, well, that's it. The reason for that is they couldn't make up their mind whether to go for it or punt the ball.
That's the second time today the Ram indecision hurt them.
Now they go down. They go down, losing another valuable timeout.
Number 13, offense, 4th down.
Though it is a 4th and 25, the ball is on the Ram 41. But of course, using that most important timeout, the Rams are hurting in all areas now with 2:52 left in the game. 19-14 Cowboys.
Let's get the hang time on this punt.
Eddie Brown picking up strays along with Westbrooks and Hill. The Cowboys are not coming. And the punt to the right, and Steve Wilson a fair catch at the 21. His dad played football for the Rams. Touchdown, Tommy Wilson.
Yeah.
So Steve is a chip off the old block.
He was a good back. 3-8 on that kick. Very, very average.
2:45 left. 19-14 Dallas. A reminder, immediately after football, 60 minutes. And tonight's guest, John Connolly, right after the game. It'll be 1st and 10, and there's an important area. Both the Rams and the Cowboys, each with 2 timeouts. It is 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 21. Staubach to Newhouse, and they bury him, losing a yard on the play.
Now the Rams use one of their timeouts.
Herbert Scott was trying to block, and he was knocked back on his numbers.
Well,
Bob Lee with his helmet on, and you just wonder if they got down to the last minute, would they substitute Lee for Ferragamo?
What this Ram defense has to do is they cannot allow a 1st down, not even 1 first down. That time it looked like they dogged, which is good to stop the inside run. The Cowboys came up 2nd and 10, and they immediately took a timeout. Now Dallas's job here is 2 hands on the ball, keep the clock running, no mistakes.
With 2 minutes and 41 seconds left to go, if Dallas wins, they will host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here next week. If the Rams turn it around and pull it out, they would go to Tampa.
Jack Youngblood's back in there again.
So 2nd and 10, the ball on the Cowboy 21-yard line. Waiting for the timeout to expire and get back to football, and now we're ready. Must be comforting if you're a Dallas fan to have Roger Staubach in control of things with 2:41 left in the game. Pearson and Hill in a slot left. Dorsett, the remaining back. Roger going wide left, setting up a screen for Hill, and the Rams read it and drop him in his tracks. So it'll be 3rd and 10.
Rams take timeout. Now they're all through.
Now, in the strategy, do you like using them now?
Well, I never used them quite that early, but that's all right. It means that Ferragamo is going to have to use the sidelines and go into that without any timeouts. Now, you see, here's an example. If they had one more timeout, they could let that clock run and still have one timeout when Ferragamo gets the ball.
Psychologically, the Rams appear, as of the moment, to have never recovered from the pass interference play that was called and then taken away. It's probably bad enough not to have one called, but to have it called and then have it taken away has some kind of a psychological effect on you, I'm sure.
Now, Tom Landry and the Dallas offense have a big call here. What do you do? 3rd and 10. Do you run the ball? Do you run a draw? They just ran a screen. Do you throw downfield? A heck of a call here is a draw play. To my way of thinking, the Rams just came in with Eddie Brown. They're in the nickel. With a middle linebacker gone, you're susceptible to the draw.
And we have 2 minutes and 34 seconds left in the game as Vince Ferragamo peers out across the field as if say, let me have it one more time. Well, with 2:34, if the Ram defense can stiffen, he'll get his wish. 3rd and 10. Now we'll see about the call as Staubach comes in along with Butch Johnson. Dupre and Dorsett go out and Jay Saldy comes in. Remember, Saldy caught that touchdown all alone when Staubach was shaken up by Jack Reynolds.
Big play here. What a big play. Both sides.
Tony Hill wide right, Saldy just off the line, Drew Pearson wide left, and Butch Johnson on a wing. Staubach with Preston Pearson, the blocking back. Roger with the little time, chase it. Jack Youngblood on a bad ankle brings him down. And there's a flag on the play. Jack Youngblood running on that bad ankle was still able to catch it. Jim Youngblood is hot, hollering at the officials,
well,
and now let's get the interpretation of the flag.
Youngblood wants to make sure that he knows that Staubach was in bounds. He didn't get out of bounds, you see.
It'll be against Dallas with 2:25 left in the game.
Looks like holding call.
Holding against the Cowboys. Youngblood did well to be able to chase and catch him running on a bad wheel.
Yes, he did. The Rams refused the penalty.
Though Staubach is unable to engineer any kind of a drive from his own 21, and on 4th and 13, Danny White will be punting from his own 10. Eddie Brown is standing on the Ram 41, and we have 2:25 left in the game. Jackie Wallace can't get in, and so the punt is away. Brown taking it to the 45 and out of bounds at midfield to stop the clock with 2 minutes and 16 seconds left, and the Rams are in excellent field position.
Eddie Brown's a smart football player. He got what he could and then got out of bounds. There was no way they were going to tackle him and keep him in bounds. 2:16, he's in good shape.
And they're going to spot the ball just over midfield to the Cowboy 49. It is 19-14 Dallas. And Vince Ferragamo back at the wheel again. No timeouts left for the Rams, remember. 2 minutes and 16 seconds left. They send Ron Smith wide left. Drew Hill is inside Waddy in the slot right. And Ferragamo with a lot of time gets it to Waddy. He's going to go for a touchdown.
You know what it is? You know what it is, Vin? It's what I've said this entire football game. A three-man rush all day to throw. You can cover with 25 guys, but if you don't rush that quarterback, here it is. You're in trouble. All day to throw.
And Waddy cut right into the opening and then just outran everybody.
You see, all those people back there don't mean a thing if you give that quarterback time to throw.
This crowd is in a state of shock.
It's like they beat the Redskins last week. This is the opposite right now. Of course, they got time to come back.
Here it is. Hegman got his fingertips on the ball, but couldn't knock it offline. And Waddy, like a loaf of bread, carried that football triumphantly into the end zone. It is 20-19 Rams. We have 2 minutes and 6 seconds left. And so once again, Roger Staubach is going to fight a 2-minute clock. The kick is good. The difference now, of course, a field goal can still pull it out. It is 21-19 Rams with 2 minutes and 6 seconds left in the game. On his third touchdown pass of the day, Vince Ferragamo has turned it around and given the Rams a 21-19 lead on a 51-yard touchdown pass from Ferragamo to Billy Waddy. And now, with 2 minutes and 6 seconds left, once again, Roger Staubach and the Dallas Cowboys will put all of Texas through the ringer. The kickoff by Frank Corral goes deep to Ron Springs from 1 yard in the end zone. And he's down at the 21-yard line, and that's where the Cowboys will put it in play with 1:57 left in the game. And there is Vince Ferragamo through 2 interceptions, but he has counteracted that with 3 touchdown passes.
He deserves a lot of credit. What a job he has done today in this pressure Cook Stadium. He's come back against one of the top teams in all of football. He's kept his poise. He's overcome a lot of bad breaks.
And meanwhile, Roger Staubach, faced again with a 2-minute challenge. He is a master in this role.
The Rams are not going to rush 3 men. They're coming in with 4.
The Cowboys have 2 timeouts left. Don't forget, immediately after football, 60 minutes with the guest, John Connolly. Remarkable game. The Cowboys led 2-0. The Rams led 7-2 and 7-5. The Cowboys got close, but it was 14-5. 14-12. Then the Cowboys took a lead of 19-14, and the Rams lead 21-19. A reminder that the Cotton Bowl, Houston versus Nebraska, New Year's Day at 2 p.m. And I'm sure for Vince Ferragamo, who graduated from Nebraska, he has a lot of folks rooting him on here today.
Sure has.
The Rams do not have any timeouts left. The Cowboys have 2 at their disposal. 1:57 left in the game. The only playoff defeat that Dallas ever suffered here was against the Rams. And it was Billy Waddy, Terry Nelson, some of the other Rams, Eddie Hill, still reliving that 51-yard touchdown pass that put them out in front.
And it was also a 2-point loss.
14-12.
Yeah. We always defensed 88 here first because we thought he was the guy that Staubach wanted to go to. And we felt we had to stop him first, and we doubled up on Preston.
And now the stage is set for Staubach and the Cowboys. 1st and 10 on the Cowboy 21. Drew Pearson wide right, Tony Hill left, Dorsett on a wing, and out of the shotgun comes Rogers. He gives to Dorsett. He has Herbert Scott and Rafferty blocking. He's to the 30, still on his feet, and can't get out of bounds. Both Rafferty and Scott pulled, and Dorsett could not get out of bounds, but he did pick up the first down.
That's a good call.
1st and 10 on the Cowboy 33, a pickup of 12. Staubach going to the air. Deep down the left sidelines, overthrowing Tony Hill. Rod Perry was there, so Staubach stopped the clock to make it 1:27 left.
He was covered.
Meanwhile, what a bit of irony, almost out of O. Henry. If Rafael Septien, the former Ram, if he figures in the waning moments to try and win this one for Dallas.
They got a long way to go for that.
Don't forget, the winner of this game plays Tampa Bay. The Rams would go to Tampa Bay. Dallas, if they win, would host Tampa Bay.
Jerry Wilkinson is in there for Jack Youngblood at left defensive end.
Jerry Wilkinson is 6'9", number 70. It is 2nd and 10 from the 33. And Staubach staying in the shotgun. And Rogers going to run with it. And now throw on the run. No good. A desperate pass to Tony Hill. And as Hill comes over near the Ram bench, Greg Westbrook hollers at him. Well, with 1:19 left, we'd like to thank some of the folks who worked so hard to bring this to you, particularly our producer, Perry Smith, along with our director, Tony Verna. Dr. Bob Woods, who furnished statistical help, Doug Adams, who helped with the spotting, and of course all of the other fellas in the background who worked for quite a few days to set this picture up.
Now Jack Youngblood's back in again.
We have 1:19 left. The ball on the Dallas 33, where it is 3rd and 10 for Staubach. Dupre goes into a slot inside Pearson. Preston Pearson is on a wing. Ron Springs, a slow block release, but instead they throw to the wrong man, Herbert Scott, and the illegal receiver and the penalties fly. I thought surely it was a slow block and then a pass to Ron Spring, and instead he threw it to Herbert Scott.
Herbert Scott should have knocked it down, not catch it.
And Herbert Scott is saying, I didn't know how to get rid of it because I never had it before.
It goes down to this final play now.
We have 1 minute and 14 seconds left in the game. Let's listen to Jerry Markwright.
Ineligible pass receiver, illegally catching a football, loss of down and 10, number 68, offense, 4th down.
Well, now it is a 4th and 20.
Boy.
The ball on the Cowboy 23. Not only was the crowd stunned over the Rams coming from behind, they're stunned not to see Staubach move down the field in the 2-minute drill.
Well, you can't do that all the time. This is a real fine Ram defense.
4th and 20, and the ball game on the line. Staubach on a deep drop and looking desperately, throwing now, no good. The intended receiver was Pearson, and he was guarded by Rod Perry. And look at that Ram bench. They feel that they're going to Tampa Bay with 1 minute and 8 seconds left.
Now, you know, if this holds up, the underdog has won every one of these playoffs games. Here's Dallas playing at home, just beat the Redskins in one of their top victories in recent years. Big favorite, and they come in here. Rams knock them off.
The crowd is absolutely shocked. The one thing they didn't expect was once the Cowboys got out in front, they certainly didn't expect them to let the lead get away.
I'll go back and say that 3-man rush, giving the quarterback time to throw.
And the 7 defensive backs that the Cowboys had to look at.
Really hurt them.
1st and 10. And now Ferragamo giving to Colin Bryant. And Bryant is inside the 20, just trying to hold on. Remember, the Rams do not have any timeouts. The Cowboys have 2, and they're going to have to use them. The clock stopped with 1 minute and 2 seconds left.
The only thing that can prevent the Rams from winning right now is a turnover.
And then some kind of a miracle play. 2nd and 5. The ball is on the Cowboy 18-yard line. 21-19 Rams. And how they would relish this game after all of the big ones that they had get away against Dallas. If you keep pounding long enough, I guess you finally get one.
The more you're in the playoffs, the more you get used to them. The better chance you have to win the big game.
The Rams, of course, had won their division 7 times and let them get away 6 of them. Ferragamo to Bryant, the reliable back who doesn't figure to fumble. And Cullen just rolls over on his side, and the clock runs down to 56 seconds, and the Cowboys take a timeout. One left.
This will be a rematch of the Rams and Tampa, the game we did in Tampa, where Tampa knocked the Rams off.
And of course, John McKay and his great days at USC, first knocking off the proud Philadelphia Eagles, and the former UCLA coach Dick Vermeil. Now he can set sight on the Los Angeles entry. What a storybook finish to a remarkably up and down year.
It certainly has been that.
The ball is on the Cowboys 17-yard line. Ferragamo went to the sidelines using the Cowboy timeout to get a play. He has handled it twice to Cullen Bryant. We'll see if they stay with the reliable back again. Yep, he gives it to Bryant, and the big man is hit by Larry Cole, but it doesn't make much difference as long as he holds on to the football.
He had 2 hands on that ball. That's the guy to give it to.
So for the Rams, this has to be, even though it is only one of the many games, they still have Tampa Bay. And for Roger Staubach, he finally comes back to earth. And as you had said, George, maybe because of the euphoria of the victory over Washington, that Dallas paid a price and came in here a little flat.
I found that to be true. After you win a big game, there's, no matter who you're playing next week or how big that game is, there's a tendency to have a letdown.
And meanwhile, the Rams came in here having played an awful game, and we use the word advisedly, against New Orleans. With 13 seconds left, the Cowboys will take a timeout. In fact, let's check on the timeouts. No, it's a delay
They
game.
just let the clock run. The Rams did. And delay a game.
Gary Markright indicating now with 13 seconds left,
they're going to go for a field goal.
Frank Corral and Nolan Cromwell trying to put their heads together for the field goal attempt.
Ben, I've really enjoyed working with you this year.
George, my pleasure.
We had a lot of fun.
And a couple of good games along the way.
Yes, we had a good crew with Tony Werner and Perry Smith.
So 13 seconds left. The spot by Nolan Cromwell will be at the 28, and as a fake, Cromwell will now start to pass and run. Harris chasing him, Manning chasing him out of bounds, and he goes out of bounds at the 13-yard line with 6 seconds left in the game.
Well, I think that gives him a first down. Let's see.
Cromwell, by the way, made that play a touchdown against Minnesota earlier this year, and this time
there was no
he
way,
really locked it up.
Yeah, there was no way they were going to kick that ball and risk being blocked. Dallas should have been aware of that.
So Cromwell on the clutch coming up out of the hold, running for the first down, and the Rams are absolutely ecstatic. They have finally done it, and they have beaten Dallas here.
In Dallas.
And after all of the criticism, how the club was not playing well, Ray Malavasi lived through all the arrows of misfortune, and now it has to be one of the big moments of his coaching career. 1st and 10 on the 13. This will be the last play. Ferragamo goes down, and time has run out on the Dallas Cowboys in 1979. It is Happy New Year, Los Angeles Rams, Ray Malavasi, as they came into Texas Stadium in Irving, shocking the experts, not to mention what they did to the Cowboys, with the Rams defeating Dallas 21-19 on this play. This was the winning touchdown. Ferragamo trailing at the moment 19-14.
All day to throw, good protection, 3-man rush.
And Billy Waddy is all the way open. Picks it off after it was deflected by Heckman. Waddy goes all the way for a touchdown. So the Rams will go all the way to Tampa Bay next Sunday for the championship game here on CBS. Don't forget, 60 minutes following football. And that's the story as far as Texas is concerned. You can hear the yells, the happy yells of the Rams as they go back to their victorious clubhouse. And Vince Ferragamo had a moment in